Anyway, how y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. We're discussing the Bayern vs Frankfurt game today. Woo! Obviously, to like 2 days late, but I think it's also good to look back on just the week as a general, in general as well. Now, with the first match day of the Bundesliga being over, we can talk about more than just the Bayern versus Frankfurt game. But that will of course be our main focus today as we begin the season. Fast track football is back. Nice. Anyway, everyone, what do you all think about the game? What are your thoughts on it? Your immediate thoughts on it? Just like your basic thoughts on it without going into too much details. How did you all see and view this game?
Yeah, I thought the game was crazy. We cooked them like a barbecue chicken. The way we played first half was one of the best games like I've seen from Bayern. It was just amazing, like just amazing to watch. Everyone was just amazing. The midfield attack, everyone. So I really enjoyed the game. So it was really fun.
I would say, especially the first half, was one of the best football games I've watched, like in my whole life. The way we played, everything was just so fluent. Everything worked out so well. Everyone was playing on a very high level. It wasn't like there were like two or three outstanding players. Everyone was just looking very sharp. I also loved every detail of it. Like I watched it like several times after because I was at the stadium and I didn't watch like the goals.
It was you who was in the stadium.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't watch it like in like every angle, you would say. But after watching it, man, it was just crazy how good we were. And in fact, honestly, it's just crazy. We must talk about the meaning of this game and the performance of certain players regarding some of our new signings because it looking very weird to be honest, especially with the Ligt and Mazraoui. But I think we will get to it later.
How was it just before we moved to someone else? Just how was your experience being in the game? Like I saw that image just before Kimmich, that free kick. How was it?
Yeah, but I couldn't even see it. Like I
Uh,
didn't know it was a goal until like someone celebrated because it was fully like covered in these clouds, like saying this fog. I couldn't see anything, but I honestly even couldn't believe it because I thought, wait, did he just score? Like he didn't even cross; he just shoot at the goal and it went went in. But as I said, the experience was quite nice. I wish I was at the Bayern like stand so I could celebrate more because honestly, it was kind of weird celebrate, especially when it was like 4-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 at first half. They were already like done with the game, right? And I was still there, like, yeah, let's go. Nabui, Musiala, Mane's goal. Yeah, let's go. And they were like, shut up, you prick. Uh, they were like, honestly, when I was like going there, right, I was obviously all around Frankfurt fans, especially in my train. And they were talking about, oh, we put up a game. This will be a close game. Bayern is, I know they're strong, but look at us. We haven't lost anyone from our important players, meaning Kostic and Ndika still there. Oh, we got Mario Götze and other players, Kolumani. Kolumani is a beast, by the way. But anyway, players like them, and this could be a fight. We are European Cup winners. There's no way this will be a like and honestly, to be fair, they always were quite good when we played them, especially when at their stadium. So I already got some people saying before I went to the game, yeah, enjoy the game, but I think we will just draw or even lose the game. And I was like, no way we lose this game. You're underestimating us. I honestly said to someone, we're winning this 6-0. And he was like, Bush, if you are saying this while Frankfurt fans are nearby, we will get killed. And but anyway, as I said, the experience was quite nice. The back travel though was kind of weird because I was on a train, everyone around me and was Frankfurt fans, and I couldn't say anything because they were drunk. And honestly, I don't want to fight with them. But anything else was just great. I loved it. Honestly, it was a season opener. Couldn't imagine a better game. But yeah, that was my
Well,
experience.
all right, then I'll just quickly share my opinions on the game. As Nagel said, probably one of the best halves I've ever seen in recent memory. The football was amazing, free-flowing. The defense, apart from one or two certain occasions, I'm sure we'll talk about them later, was overall solid. And yeah, I didn't see the first goal as well because I went to Munich to go shopping with my family, and thankfully they decided to play the German anthem before the start of the game for some reason, so that delayed the kickoff time. But I was still in my car, and but I was watching the game, kind of half watching the game because I was driving, and so I was obviously paying attention to the road. My sister was holding up my phone, and where the live stream, the legal live stream, mind you, Sat.1, where the live stream was on, and I was at a red light, and we just Kimmich took the free kick, and the Nuggets, I can assure you, nobody saw the goal. We just saw him take it, and all of a sudden he went to celebrate. And German commentators are not really enthusiastic, right? Especially when Bayern Munich scores. So you literally had no idea that they had just scored. But yeah, superb goal. What I've been noticing a lot is we've improved so much offensively when it comes to set pieces, right? The first two goals were results of set pieces. The first one more so. The second one, the Pavard goal, was a rebound, I think. But still, it shows we were fighting for the second balls. But yeah, I think we'll discuss everything in detail in the coming minutes.
Okay, fair enough. So we've got someone at the stadium, someone who was watching it while driving, me that was watching it at home. Very eventful. But I'm gonna parrot and basically say the same thing that all of you said. Very good first half. Now, I did actually see the goal because I don't know where you lot are looking. It's a free kick. Obviously, I'm going to focus on the football. I'm not going to look away. So I saw the goal clearly, clear as crystal, clear as day. Clear as a day with a lot of smoke, as the Frankfurt fans would say. But with that said, I very much like the first half. It really reminded me of the first half against Leipzig in the Super Cup. And the second half felt very much the same as the game against Leipzig, where we lost control a little bit. But I did feel like even even in the game against Frankfurt 2 days ago, we still had a lot of control over the game, even in the second half. So overall, I was just very, very happy with how the game went, especially with the first half, because we looked both good offensively and defensively. And obviously, we'll talk about individual players, because I think there are some that need to be talked about. I think Nagelsmann kind of hinted towards some of them as well. But there's one player that I do want to start with, and that's a player that has been under a lot of criticism for a while now. And it isn't Pavard. It's not Pavard that we're talking about. It's another one of the back four. And the player I'm talking about is Upamecano. Upamecano last season was, heavily criticized. Even the season before, in his final season with Leipzig, he was heavily criticized. Last season, though, at Bayern, he was heavily criticized because, he does well, but then he loses concentration and we suddenly, concede a goal. We've played 2 games. He's looked good. What's everyone's thoughts on him so far? I know it's early days, and it's obviously, these 2 games that we've had, the Super Cup and the first match day, are obviously not a big enough sample size to really make a clear opinion, a clear thought about it. But what's everyone's thoughts on Upamecano, how he's been so far?
If I could go first, I can't believe how good this guy actually is. He's crazy good, and I knew it because we signed him for this still a good amount of money, even though it was a release clause and everything. But we signed him because we saw in him one of the best defenders. But the way he defended yesterday, right? And to be fair, the first half, Frankfurt wasn't really that threatening. But when Kolo Muani came in, kind of changed, right? Frankfurt were a bit more threatening. They were also trying to attack. And Upamecano, man, he showed what he's capable of, right? And I think you could say it is because of the signing of De Ligt, he want to show well, you just wasted 67 million because I'm here. I'm here to stay. I'm here to start. And that's crazy for me. I think Upamecano, his performance yesterday was sensational. I always knew he had this in him, right? But sometimes he had this this mistakes he did. But yes, on Friday, if he continues like this, I have no idea how well the Ligt will play. Someone was, as Shanan in the chat is saying, Lucas did not perform too well on Friday. I think, yes, somehow true. I think he wasn't on his best, but I still think because he's left-footed, he still has the edge on the left side, left central back position. So let's see how the Ligt will play, where he will play, whether he will play, and especially if Upamecano continues like this. Man, he wants to play in that World Cup so badly, and he deserves it if he continues like that. No way you don't take Upamecano if you're like Deschamps and see this kind of performance. Okay, that's my opinion. Go ahead. Next one.
Yeah, I was just gonna add. I always thought he would come good for us at some point because he's got the pace, he's got the strength. He's actually solid. Even last season, when you look at his the way he played, mostly mistakes, things like that, things that basic things, errors he was making things. But I personally believe, he would come good at some point. I'm really happy. And this season will be good. The competition is healthy, as you said, with that guy. What was his name? De Ligt and Lucas and even Bavard could play there. So I think it's good for us that all of them. I feel like he's gonna be undisputed starter. Even going back to that friendly game against Marseille, that tackle against Haaland.
Haaland, yeah.
That was amazing, So I feel like he's going to be undisputed star between Lucas and De Ligt, depending on the formation he's going to play. It's going to be between De Ligt and Lucas. Let's see, though. Let's see. It's good. It's good for us, at least. Yeah. I don't know what you guys thoughts. Your thoughts.
I think he was phenomenal. In Friday's game. Sorry, no, yesterday. In Friday's game, he was phenomenal. He was extremely quick because obviously we did have a high line a few times, but his speed just nullified it. Some passes were played in the back, towards the strikers, and they were trying to run in, but he just was far too quick. His tackles were on point, very focused, very concentrated. I can't think of a single mistake. Perhaps I can't help but wonder if the De Ligt signing by proxy, just the effect of it on Upamecano was to relieve him of some of his pressure, because we always said, we paid 30 million or 35 million for this guy, he better perform. And now he has, instead of having just one other centre back with an 80 million price, he has two, where he can just say, okay, even if I'm not at my best, at least I'm the club does not depend on me that much. But in another way, it will always also push him to perform even better. And that's also what I think we're seeing with Pavard. I mean, as soon as we bought Mazraoui, that man performs on a level that we haven't seen from him in a long while. So that's what squad depth means. And I struggle to think of a time or a season where we had that much good depth in defense. And that's why I'm very excited for the season. I was very excited with the signing of Mazraoui, just because of the effect that he's going to have. And yeah, that's my overall thoughts on Upamecano.
Just one quick thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go on.
I just wanted to say, did you see the celebration of Pavard when he was scoring the goal? He was running towards Nagelsmann and hugging him. Meaning, I think they have a special connection. The only reason he's not going is because he likes Nagelsmann that much. I think that's honestly something because you would say Pavard definitely has the ambition to start every game as a center back because he's actually decent, but he wants to stay because he likes Nagelsmann, and as long as he gives him the confidence and let him play on the right back position, he's fine with it as long as at the end, I think his main target is to play and not. Yeah, he would prefer the center back position, but if it has to be the right back position, he's also fine with that. Because honestly, I think he's just enjoying the team and seems to be good friends with Lucas and everyone else. Also went to the club with them, went clubbing with them. So
Yeah,
it's
the
just
vibes at the moment is showing good
yeah, the vibes,
within the
right?
team.
Yeah.
So yeah, hope that continues.
I was just gonna say, I think you might be reading too much into it, honestly, because Power every time he scores, he celebrates with the coach and the whole bench. Really, what his celebration and his goal to a degree reminded me of was the goal against Argentina in the
Yeah,
World
yeah.
Cup. As I said, whenever he scores, he really celebrates with everyone. So that's just because he doesn't score much because he is a defender, I guess. But the one thing I wanted to say before we talk about something else is Nagels, you mentioned Colomwani, and at this point, I just want to shout out Euro Expert on his list of 5 players to watch for the season that will have a breakout season in the Bundesliga. He mentioned Colomwani. So if you have watched that video, you would have been aware of the threat that he might possess and poses to us. But with that said, we talked about Upamecano. Obviously, in proxy, we talked about Lucas Hernandez a little bit. But
before we move on, what are your thoughts about him? Just before we just want to know your thoughts about him as well.
On Colomwani?
No, Upamecano.
Oh, Upamecano. Yeah, absolutely. How do I put this? He reminds me, and I think I might have mentioned this before, but he reminds me of a very young Boateng, in the sense that Boateng had all the qualities to be a world-class centre back. His passing range, his defending, his aggression, but also his ability to drop off, and his decision making. But the thing that always let him down was his concentration, making one mistake each game. And I think that's basically what's happened with Upamecano, where he is making, last season he was making that one mistake or 2 mistakes a game. And I think he started to, I think he's, naturally with age comes experience, and with experience comes more concentration and focus. And that's why I think it was always going to be just a matter of time before he gets that out of his system. And I think we're seeing that now. I don't think it's going to be gone just like that, just wiped off like that. I think we're going to see it though throughout the season, where our defense is going to start looking better. And that means that he's going to also perform better. But I think he's got all the qualities to really be, one of the best centre backs of all time. But that's why when that debate was made about should Bayern go for Upamecano or Konate, I always said that while Konate performed better at Leipzig, Upamecano has the highest ceiling, and that's why we should go for him. Because we're seeing that right now. Upamecano, I'm not saying he's reached his ceiling, but he is improving and getting better, and that's exactly what we need to see from him. And I think if any manager's going to unlock that, it's going to be a manager that he's worked with for years, that he can continue his game and improve his deficiencies, and maybe even get rid of those his lack of concentration. So I'm very happy to see what we saw, and yeah, I think he's just going to continue having a great season. But another player that we need to talk about a little bit, maybe a lot, but maybe just a little bit, is Sabitzer.
Oh yeah,
because many of us we've made multiple lineups over the course of the summer. We've made multiple lineups, and I can't remember a single one of us having Sabitzer in their first 11.
Why would we though after last season?
Yeah, you can understand. You know what though? You can see Sabitzer how much he wants to stay. He's fighting for his position. He's proud to be here. The other day, when he was trying to, I was watching even the other day, second time the video comes, and then the way he's trying to at the moment, the way he's playing is going to be difficult for Goretzka, because I know injuries can sometimes affect players their performance, but I hope he keeps up this, because we need a player who has that energy, stamina, chase up all around. They just going around, just winning the ball. And at the moment, I feel like he is doing amazing. Let's see, next few weeks is going to be crucial.
He played fantastic, some of the preseason games, and this the Leipzig game and the Frankfurt games, he also played really well. Did you see the interview on how like it was said that he was a loner, but then he got like friends with Kimmich and Neuer and everyone, and now he's like actually performing pretty well. I think it's crazy that like your performance is dependent on so many different factors and so many stuff you don't even consider if you like talk about performance. But to say, I think we had our like interest in Lima or signing Lima this season cooled down because of Sabit's unreal performance. I think if he continues like that, even I think Goretzka will have a hard time to get a starting position if like Sabitzer, as I said, continues like that, and him and Kimmich seems to work pretty well together. And this like if I think Sabitzer, this is his first like real season at Bayern. This is the reason Nagelsmann wanted him so badly, and he's showing it. I'm keen on seeing more, honestly.
Okay.
You, Prince? Maybe? I don't know.
Well.
Yeah, sorry. Lima, yeah, he was one of the players I watched the least during the game, but for like a span of 5 minutes maybe, as I said to myself, you know what, let's just watch Sabitzer, and I thought, man, he's good. He's really like my stance has changed pretty much every stream, but most of the time I've said he doesn't bring enough to the team, and I've just got to put my hands up high and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I was wrong. He, at least in this game and in the Leipzig one, he provided so much. Yes, his pressing was good. He immediately played the ball forward. He's created a few chances this way. I mean, no, you can't really say he created those chances, but he initiated a lot of counter attacks. And he was really good. And as Nagel said, I think so too, that the interest in Lima has pretty much all but gone, or is gone, because of his good performances, Sabitzer that is, and because of the high price tag. I think what they're gonna try to do is try out if Kimmich works either with Goretzka, Sabitzer, or Gravenberg. If it's two of those three that he works quite well with, they're just not going to go for Lima. And, but if none of them work as well as they've imagined, then they're going to go for Lima for free, which is a pretty good position to be in as a club. So yeah, I'm very excited. And by the way, I've pretty much I have him in my starting lineup now for the next few weeks, because Goretzka is still injured. Gravenberg seems not like he doesn't seem to be ready, quite ready yet. So yeah, it will be a neck and neck race between Sabitzer and Gravenberg until Goretzka comes back. And when he does come back, the real fun begins. So let's just see and wait.
Yeah, I just want to add, like, are we like, the Europe is it's a different ball game. Like we've seen when we played against Man City, the same midfield with Kimmich and Sabitzer. Man City outplayed us. So are we really just like, are we thinking, like, is this just? I don't know if it's good enough for Europe. Do you guys think this, like, teams against top teams like Man City, Liverpool, or in the Champions League, is he good enough? That's the question I have. Just I don't know if he will be good enough. I feel like we will meet Lima.
Maybe. I mean, maybe he'll just transition naturally into a more defensive role. I mean, the thing that we've been saying, which is we need a more defensive element, I'm sure the coaching staff knows as well. And perhaps Lima does. I'm sorry, not Lima. Sabitzer does as well. And maybe he just transitions over the course of the next few weeks into that defensive force that we need. That's at least my hope, because as you just said, the first game against City just really did not look good. And although I rate Freiburg really highly, there's just too much of a difference between the two. both in playing stand and quality to
Wrong
say,
team.
oh, we're gonna, yeah.
Wrong team, not Freiburg, Frankfurt.
Sorry, Frankfurt.
I was wondering.
Yeah. I read both teams, Freiburg and Frankfurt, but Frankfurt in this case, yeah. Thank you, Prince.
Two things. One, in regards to this Nianzou discussion that's happening there, I'm not even going to entertain it. I've got special inside knowledge and sources. Next match day, both Nianzou, Gravenberg, and De Ligt are going to play. That's all I'm going to say. I've got special inside sources that told me that. Don't quote me on this though.
I just hope we keep, for now at least, I hope we keep this team because I'm enjoying the way we play. I just want to see us like just how much we can go in performing, especially team players like Musiala and with Sabitzer and Upamecano. So I hope we don't make too much rotation just yet. But yeah, I just want to keep seeing how good this team keeps going.
Yeah, that's fair. One thing that I did find very interesting today, actually, was Salihamidzic. I think he was on a show. I'm not sure which show, because I was just skimming through what he was saying, and he mentioned that the team's lacking fitness. I think most people would kind of agree with that, considering how short our preseason preparation was, or that we've gone through, and how late some players came in. But is this the reason? This is just a very quick yes or no answer. Is this the reason why in the first half we tend to look really good, and in the second half we tend to be a lot more conservative? Do you think that's the reason why, because of fitness, or do you think it's just game over at halftime? There's no need to push any further.
I think it's a mixture of both, right? I mean, I'm sure most of the players are aware that they're not capable of going the same or displaying the same quality of performance over 90 minutes. So they just they try and get a very comfortable lead in the first half, and then in the second half they just like shift back a few gears, lean back, let the opposition have the ball. And my only question is if that fitness is fully reached, like if they all are at 100%, are we going to see two halves of the same quality that we saw like the first half on Friday, or are we going to see like two halves with 80% of that performance from the first half on Friday? Because if they somehow manage to perform that way over 90 minutes, then it's game over for the rest of Europe. I'm sorry, it was insane. So yeah.
Okay.
I just wonder if it has anything to do with our pressing. Just because you just tend to get a bit tired sometimes when you just press in the first half and then get tired second half. So I don't know. I think with the Flick era as well, I think this first season we were kind of suffering the same thing. Thing where we were performing well in the first half and then second half we just like not as good. But I hope we work on that. But whatever the cause is, I hope we work on that, because that will affect us, in the big games if we keep performing like that.
All right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the newcomers. So we talked about De Ligt, or rather how Upamecano, potentially might keep De Ligt out of the squad. Pavard might keep Mazraoui out of the squad, but one player that actually did start for us on Friday was Sadio Mane. And I always have to emphasize his name just to make sure that I'm saying the right name and not Sane. But yeah, Sadio Mane came on and scored a goal in the first half. I believe he scored our third goal. So what's everyone's thoughts on his performance? And I think most importantly, his chemistry with the team, because to me that was the most important part. Not really if he scores or not, but rather the chemistry with the squad. And what was everyone's thoughts on that?
So, like about Mane, I have the same opinion as about basically the front four, which is Müller, Musiala, Gnabry, and Mane. They've been just simply put brilliant, and like I've never seen an attack playing for Bayern that was so unpredictable. Like those four running towards the Frankfurt defense, and the path of running and the passes that he's even played are just simply brilliant. And I struggle to, because it's kind of hard even for like Zane. Zane had a decent game on Friday. I mean, we were all frustrated with his body language at times, but he was very, very good. But there's just no way he can walk into that starting lineup now, because Musiala and Müller have to start, and in a two-striker system, or even otherwise, Mane and Gnabry have to start. It's unbelievable how, like, even if he hadn't scored any goals, same goes for Gnabry. If those two were at the end of the day goalless, the amount of chaos they create in the Frankfurt back line was just unbelievable. And we're off to a good start, and that was just the second official game of the season. So there's much more to come from Sadio, and I'm very excited for it.
Can I just very quickly respond to this comment? It's a very simple answer, and that answer is Borussia Mönchengladbach. There you go. Congratulations.
Well, what did you say?
Was it the hardest team to play against this season?
Against which team in the Bundesliga could we have the most problems against? It's Gladbach. Always will be Gladbach. Always has been Gladbach.
I'll be at the Gladbach game. No, we smashed them 5-0. I bet money on that. 5-0.
Which one, away or home?
Home.
Oh, you will be in Munich then?
Yeah. It's like in 2 weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks.
No idea.
3 weeks. Trust me, they have no chance. They're like shit. I mean, yeah, it's obviously always Gladbach for whatever reason, but not this time.
So that's Gladbach away. Gladbach away is very hard. Gladbach at home, it's like a 50-50. And I also see us winning against them. But Gladbach away is an entire different story.
Yeah, they've always performed well against us, regardless of how good or bad they are. Last season or the season before, where they finished like mid-table or just still beat us. Was it last season? I think. Yeah. So still beat us in the cup and destroyed us. So I think I would say Gladbach. Yeah, and Leipzig maybe, just if they get Timo Werner, just because of the runs he could make for this guy Nkunku, Timo Werner. If they keep Lima as well, I think. Yeah, it might be an interesting game.
I've watched the game today. They weren't really that good.
Freiburg away is also can be tough. Has been tough over the years sometimes, but not always.
I always wanted to have like this invincible season. I think we are actually good enough in this league to get one, but it's always like one of these games you just choke for whatever reason, and then it's already over. I remember, I think Nagelsmann said to them last season, when it was his debut season, he said, there's only one thing at this league you haven't achieved yet, and that's the invincible season. And then we lose against Frankfurt, I think, already in the 6th or 7th match day, and it was already Doom was over. You guys think it's actually possible, or it's like once in a lifetime experience? Because
I think it's very hard in the league, because especially with the density of matches this year. In general, maybe, but even the best team we've ever had, which is still, in my opinion, because the jury is still out on this season's team, the best team we've ever had was 2012 and 13, because the chemistry in the team and the balance of the team was just amazing. And even then, we lost, I think, 3 games, which was even the best team we've ever had. And I remember very vividly the first loss, which was on the 8th match day, which was at home against Leverkusen.
Was it Leverkusen? Yeah, I remember
the one goal where I think is it Lahm? No, it's the Leverkusen player who heads it into the face of a Bayern player, or like the other way around, and it goes into goal. Like such a slapstick goal.
Yeah.
And it was also when Manuel Neuer was at the other penalty box in the last minute of the game, because he didn't want to lose. If even that team could not pull it off, I don't think, at least not in the next few years. But the league has gotten much weaker than back in the day. So maybe it is possible.
Yeah, I honestly don't care about that. I just want the Champions League, for us. I know it's hard to win the Champions League, just to as far as possible as we get to semi-final, just our luck, and just rotate, give these young players chance. I would rather give these guys Vidovic. I know it's probably going to be hard to give these guys a chance because we still have players like Gravenberg, and just get in line. So they have to get in line. And I hope we see a lot of rotation this season, and we just focus on the Champions League as well.
Honestly, the invincible achievement is so irrelevant to me. Doesn't make a single difference. I couldn't care in the slightest. The Bundesliga is a formality. It's not a challenge. I know I'm excited for it to come back every week, but realistically, we're gonna win it. The only time we wouldn't win it is if half the team breaks their leg, and even our second team, I think, could probably win it, honestly. So I'm not worried about the Bundesliga in the slightest, if I'm being completely honest. More than anything, I want us to actually play good football, which we haven't done since Pep left. So, these early 2 games are a start, but they're nowhere near what I want to see, because football hasn't been enjoyable for the past 5-6 years, if I'm being completely honest. Besides, the occasional game, maybe entertaining, but not enjoyable. With that said, though, I don't think because you lot mentioned that the Bundesliga has gotten a lot weaker. I don't think the Bundesliga has necessarily gotten a lot weaker. I think we've just gotten so much better comparatively. Because you look at Frankfurt just won the Europa League. So it's not that the teams have gotten weaker. It's just that the big clubs, aka the top clubs in Europe, aka you've got your Liverpool, your City, your Bayern, your Real Madrid, and your PSG, they've gotten stronger. The second tier clubs like Dortmund and whatnot, they've not been able to keep up. Dortmund, Leverkusen, Leipzig. But you've got your third tier clubs, like Frankfurt, for example, that have now pushed and are actually able to win, European trophies as well. I just think the top clubs have just gotten so much further away from the second tiers, so to speak. And that's why there is no competition in the Bundesliga, in my honest opinion. With that said, just to go back to the Mane topic, because we barely touched on it before we moved on. What are your thoughts on Mane in regards to hit the game on Friday?
I think Mane is everything this guy does is fascinating me, because it's not just only the way he plays, right? But you talked about team chemistry. And I mean, you could just say, oh, it feels like he's been playing a Bayern for 10 years. And but I think it's more than that. It's the way he gets into this team, and it feels like it was always his dream to play for this club. And you could see it every time he scores, the teammate scores, or anything else regarding Bayern happens with him in it, because Mane seems to be like the guy who's always smiling and is happy about every goal being scored, contrary to the other guy we had in the last year, who was more than he was primarily happy when he scored. But with Mane, it looks really different. And also the team seems to like him so much, because I honestly had a feel like he's like the next winger, right? We signed, but we already had Sane, Nabri, and Coleman, and also sometimes Musiala and everyone. But then we signed also Mane, and you were like, oh, it's the next winger. You don't know how the team reacts to him, but it feels like the team loves him so much. And I think that's great. I think I think he's already one of the best signings we made. Point. That period, it's one of the best signings already. I think it's just such a good chemistry signing, and not only his the way he plays, it's everything. This guy just makes me happy, and feels unreal that he's a Bayern player. But that's my opinion. I think Tausif already said.
Yeah, I was just gonna add. I feel like this last game, I thought he was. There was a few other players better, because as a team we were all good, most of our players, but there were a few other players better. But general, Mane it's just been fresh off breath. Like the way he's been like now today, him going to watch the youth team or him celebrating with the fans and seeing things like that. Just really happy to see the other team. We look like good with him. I'm so excited to see the rest of the season. Him and Gnabry look like deadly though. I think the way we are playing at the moment, so it's going to be exciting.
So you alluded to it a little bit. There are other players that played better, but the reason I wanted to talk about Mane, I got it wrong. The reason I want to talk about Mane first is because there is two players actually that I do want to talk about. One is in connection with Mane, and the other one is in connection with how good they are. So Mane, first goal, very impressive. As I said, I personally don't care too much, but the fact that he's had multiple chances, for me, that's very important. And the fact that he created a lot was very important. So, for example, he created the pass to Gnabry, where Gnabry could have laid it off to Müller, and well, let's just say that didn't go according to plan. So he was involved with the game all the way through, and I liked seeing that. Now, for me, what was important was the connection between him and Gnabry and him and Müller. He gave a pass to Müller as well before Müller set up Wonderboy for his goal. So there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good, what feels like chemistry being there right now in that situation. Now, with that said, though, let's talk a little bit about. So we talk about Wonderboy or Gnabry first. Let's talk about Gnabry first. I want to talk about Gnabry because he's a striker. 4-2-2-2. 4-2-2-2 is what we're playing this season, seemingly. And the interesting part is Gnabry is a starter. He's been a starter in all the games so far under that system this season. And as I said, it was very telling that he extended his contract the second Lewandowski decided to leave. Is this Gnabry's season?
Yes, I think. I don't think we're going to have a standout player this season. I think all of them are going to perform in a similar level or at a similar level. And but Gnabry, he's even at his best, he's never been someone who does that much on the ball. I remember seeing him live against England in Munich. And I just came to appreciate how much he does off the ball, something you don't see on the television. And that's a quality that he's always has had. But during his best time, he was basically invisible for most of the game and just came in and scored, just was threatening. And that threat, I think he kind of is getting back to it, where you can't really say in apart from his goals and goal contributions, he's been that good, but he just scores, and that's just what a striker does. And in this two-striker system, I think he'll have a renaissance and find back to his best form yet. And that's very good both for for Bayern Munich and for Germany going into the World Cup. Although we don't have a second striker there yet, so that remains to be seen. So yeah, I'm very happy with Gnabry and with the way he provides, or what he can provide to our game. So yeah, very content with him.
I am obviously a big Gnabry fan, as I was really happy about him that he extended. And sometimes he's just sometimes he's still pissing me off with some of these passes and stuff. But all in all, I think Gnabry as a striker, because of his finishing ability and everything, this will cook, and this will not only cook for Bayern, but also for Germany in the World Cup. I think I always feel like Germany should play how Bayern play. I don't know what about you guys, but I think that's just
I absolutely agree.
If Bayern plays 4-2-2-2, Germany has to consider it as well.
Yeah, I mean, that has been the case for because, as you've said, Bayern offers the biggest block of players to always 6 to 7 players, and it would be kind of dumb to go against the system. They've always, when Bayern started playing with a 4-2-3-1, Germany often played with a 4-2-3-1, and that often resulted in success. So, but the question is, who's going to be the second striker? Werner?
I think Prince touched it last time when we talked about the World Cup. He said Germany is one of the favorites because of the Bayern, like as I said, Bayern block being playing already very many games together, and any other team they need to play together. They haven't played together that much. So with that, and Bayern knowing the 4-2-2-2 with Müller, Musiala as the two number 10s. I think second striker, I don't know, probably Werner or Havertz, I don't know. Flick, I don't know what Flick will do, but talking about Gnabry in general, I think he's enjoying it very much right now. The partnership with Mane, the passes of Müller and Musiala. I think, come on, if you get like assisted by Müller and Musiala, but this Musiala right now, are they even better like assist providers than them? I don't know. And with that, you have to score. And he's scoring. He's delivering. I think Nagelsmann is very happy with him, with the two striker system. I think Gnabry is he's like, honestly, I think he's as set as someone like Kimmich or Müller or, I don't know, Lucas. Like, I think he's like a set player, which he wasn't last season. I know he played every Bundesliga game, but he wasn't like a guaranteed starter, or let's say like someone who has set every game, no hesitation. But this season, he definitely has the potential to become one with this second striker position. But let's see how it develops. Still early. He has to deliver, as we said. He has to score goals. I think it would be interesting to see who will be the top scorer of the Bundesliga. I know many have like Schick, Nkunku, Mane, Gnabry. Let's see. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I always thought with Gnabry's strength is scoring. Like if you compare with Coman or Sane, like looking at dribbling, for example, his strength was always scoring. So I don't know what to think this season. The fact that he's playing up front, maybe it could be his season. Maybe we will see Gnabry like break record, like score like so many goals, because with his dribbling, like for example, like it's not the level of Coman, but he's a lot better when it comes to scoring goals. Our wingers compared to other wingers, we have Coman and Sane, so it could be his season. Him and Mane might work really well. Let's see.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about Wonder Boy then. Wonder Boy. We all know who we're talking about, right? Wonder Boy. It's Jamal.
Nianzou.
I could have gone there. I actually did think about going there, but I didn't. I held back, and you didn't hold back at all. But we're talking about Jamal Musiala. 2 goals. Fantastic performance, as usual.
Yeah.
Had a man of the match performance against Leipzig, and had a man of the match performance against Frankfurt. Is this Jamal's season? Now, this is a very easy question, but I'm still asking it. Is it his season?
Yes, I think. Listen, Musiala is probably the first player in a long while that I actually really do like. Like the latest kid that I've gotten the yellow, sorry, not the yellow, God forbid, but the white with the gold applications. I got Musiala on the back there, but I do think in the past he's been kind of overprotected at times by Bayern fans. Like if he does a mistake, it's okay. He's just a kid. But if he's genuinely good, then he's world class, and we should. But this time, I think he's made like such a jump from last season. His performance was amazing. He was man of the match for me, and I think the reason, or part of the reason, is because he had that Mr. Thomas Müller next to him. Because them two together, they have to play now every game because they have very good chemistry. People always say, "Oh, it's either Müller or Musiala." But on Twitter I've said that like numerous times. You can't bench any of those two. Müller is not here to replace. Musiala is not here to replace Müller. Wirtz will be the one to replace Müller eventually, but not Musiala. And that these two like link up so well will be probably the key to our success, or at least the key to our attack this season.
I do agree. I think honestly, I don't know if there are many other under 20 players who are like better than him, because I have to say I wasn't ever at this Musiala hype train, right? I always knew he's a great special kid. He's a special player, but I was never like this. Oh yeah, give Musiala more game time. Robbery. Why is he not starting every game? No, honestly, I always understand why he wasn't starting some of the games. But with these performance, it doesn't matter how old he is. It doesn't matter whether he's a talent or not. This guy is putting in performances as if he was 27 in his prime. It's insane how good he is. And to be fair though, it's difficult to become a starter at Bayern with this age. But if there's someone who could do that, it's Musiala. And I feel so sorry for the likes of Sani, because he seems to be getting back to his like form as well. But there is no way he passed Musiala if he continues like that. And to be fair, it sounds crazy, but for me, he also has to start for Germany. And to say that, it's already crazy, because no one would have said that like 5 or 6 weeks ago. No one would say, "Oh, Musiala has to start at for Germany in the World Cup." But with this performance, you are wasting this kid if you're not starting him. And as I said, Musiala, wonder kid, wonder boy, special boy, star boy, call him whatever you want. This guy, I'm so happy that he's playing for Bayern, because I feel like it's a player all of us and all of football Germany is like really like jealous that we got him. And I, what was the last time when we got like a player, like really young player, right? He was at Bayern and they were like jealous of him, because honestly, I think we always like signed them, right? We signed like all of our like star players. They are not like many of these. Oh yeah, they were young and they were playing for Bayern like a while now. I'm just so happy that this guy is playing for Bayern. Honestly, I also love the Germany. All of Germany loves him. Like he's already like a fan
Yeah.
favorite.
You can't hate him. You can't hate him.
No,
It's
you
impossible.
can't. You can't. This guy is like, come on. He's on a wavelength, as he would say, with the fans.
Yeah, I feel like we hit the jackpot with him. You know,
Yeah, we did.
he's one of the like best young talents, if not the best. If he played like in Prem or La Liga, it probably would have been labeled the best, because the way Musiala plays, as you mentioned,
Yeah,
he
he would.
plays
He would.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, he played like on his prime, like 27, 28, the way he plays. To the fact that he won man of the match last 2 games, I think he's undisputed star this season, no doubt about that. He's gonna be starter. And you know what? We are so lucky to have him. Just I feel like Germany, Flick is a big fan, so I won't be surprised if he actually starts him. And
Yeah, he
and
has
the
to. Like,
world, yeah, and the world sees him. You know, like Mbappe was in 2018. Imagine if Musiala does something like that in the world. If a lot of people see what kind of talent he is already. I mean, we are so lucky to have him, man. I'm so excited to see this season our team overall as a team.
Yeah. Realistically, who's going to start over him? Because
yeah.
for Germany, sure, Müller will probably always play because just because of his experience as well. But if
Can't see
the
Royce.
likes of
Can't see, no.
if the likes of Royce made it into the like if he makes it into the starting lineup and Musiala doesn't, that's a scandal. And I
It's a
don't think
robbery.
that I think Flick would never do that. Flick knows how good he is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Let me just add two things, right? First is I think the World Cup will be his like stage. It will
Oh,
be
yeah.
his stage. Honestly, I think it's when everyone sees this guy. People are talking about Pedri and Bellingham and I don't know Gavi. They are sleeping on Musiala, and I know it's harder for someone the Bundesliga to, and especially if you're German Bundesliga and play with Bayern
Yeah.
and people they always say, oh look at Bayern already like you have to admit being up 5-0 at your first game in the first halftime, it looks weird for fans from like other countries. Okay, like they will, let's say, look at the Farmers League started again. And honestly,
Yeah,
what can we say? What can we say?
but to be honest, there have been so many games in the Premier League recently. Even recently, where Southampton has lost 8-9-0.
Yeah.
But they've been fairly competitive in the last few years. They've not gone down. And let's not forget, Frankfurt won the Europa League. They're a really, really good side. And they, like, truly, I believe, if we hadn't beaten them as much by as many goals, they would have had a decent shot at making top 6 this year easily. But because I think they're going to have a bad start just because of us, because we've probably messed them up really much, psychologically, right? Starting the season off with a 6-1 defeat after having won the European Cup the season prior, it's just going to knock your confidence. But my point is,
I mean,
there's
if
a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to those Farmers League allegation, because that Bayern would have put the same amount of goals past every team in the Premier League bar City and Liverpool, even Spurs, even Arsenal. Arsenal are very, very good this year, but they would have still gotten.
We are not scoring 6 goals against Chelsea or
Chelsea is really, really bad. No, I'm not even kidding. Chelsea is.
But at least their defense is like decent. Frankfurt, they didn't even know how to defend.
Not 6-1, but a 3-0 without them having a shot on target easily. I'm not even joking.
I feel like with this team, bigger teams, our midfield will be tested more. Like with teams like Chelsea and stuff. So I feel like it would be more closer.
Just one thing about Musiala, right? I follow someone on Twitter, and he said, "Man, Musiala is a cheat code," and I honestly couldn't agree more. This guy, I was in the stadium, right? I could see him like live, and every time this guy gets the ball, he's like starting. I don't know what he does, but he starts a turbo, and this turbo, he starts to dribble past everyone. He's just running with the ball as it was glued to his feet. It's crazy. It's so cool. It's like, as I said.
It also indicates a terrible mistake that has been done by the German system. Like the way football has been taught in Germany is very, very good. But one thing that we've kind of pushed towards is like avoiding or teaching children to not go into 1v1s instead of like they should rather pass it rather. And that's good. That's a good message. But the way that we've done it is, like, basically, Musiala is the first player in a long, probably since Götze, who really goes past players 1v1, because nobody else can do it anymore because it's been taught to not do that, and it's quite a shame. And I think we should, Germany should kind of change the system or the way football is being taught in the Leistungsnachwuchszentren. Because Musiala was like, his footballing education was in England. Let's not forget that. I love to shit on England a lot, but that's one thing that they've done better than us in the past 5 years. Yeah.
I just want to quote Lothar Matthäus. I try to translate it by on the fly, so it might sound a bit off. But he said next to Flick, right? He said, we looked at each other several times at the game while the game was playing, and Musiala has the ball, and we're like, what is this guy doing again? How is he that good? And this is like Flick and Matthäus, right? They know how good players play. Like
in the game.
Yeah,
What game
I think
was that?
Flick has no choice. If he's continue like that, he has no choice but to play this guy.
What game was that in Frankfurt?
I know. I think this quote is from the Leipzig game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, same thing.
Go ahead, Prince. Give us your take on it.
So I'll let you all speak for a little bit, because I'm not going to speak much in regards to Musiala. Actually, I'm not going to say anything. All I'm going to do is just show you this.
What? Salah will be our best player.
Always right. I'm always right. Just saying, I am always right.
No,
When
you're
was
not.
this?
You're saying
2020.
Nianzo's the best.
Good shout.
I'm just saying.
You're not always right, bro.
One
You're,
last thing
Cody
about
Gakpo is going to
Musiala,
nothing here.
if you don't want to add anything, Prince, is that this season, I think, because I haven't been watching football, at least on the club level, as intensely for the longest time. But I've only been in that for like 12 years, and the only person that has come through our ranks, which was at a similar level to Musiala at that age, but never had the hype, was Thomas Müller. And this will be a make or break season, in my estimation, if Musiala as a talent at this age is over Müller or not. Because keep in mind, Müller was just 1 year older than Musiala is now, when he was a key component to Bayern reaching the Champions League final, almost doing the the treble, and he became World Cup top scorer. Which and this will be Musiala next year. That's the age difference. He was just 1 year older than Musiala is now. So I'll be very, very interested in how that pans out.
Are you
Do you
not
guys
forgetting-
think that
Sorry, go on.
Muller at the time, when he was younger, if you compare Musiala just now, do you think Musiala is even better than Muller was at his age, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's difficult to compare the two different types of players. I mean, Müller was it's less skill, but with Musiala it's more skill and raw talent. And Müller and still is that incomprehensible genius of football, where he sees a space completely differently. And I think Musiala has the potential to learn that, but Müller, and people always say, Müller is at least completely underrated, and that's true, because his style of playing football is just so it doesn't really reflect in numbers. It doesn't really reflect on the pitch. You have to just have a camera on him to see what he's doing. So it's hard to say who was farther in his development. When it comes to Musiala at this age, then yeah, he was better at Müller when he was this age. But when it comes to the next year, I mean, Müller, 1 year older than Musiala is now, at that age, he was unbelievable. And Musiala has not reached that level yet, but he has 1 year. Still has 1 year. So I'll be very excited to see if he reaches that level.
I massively disagree with everything you just said.
All right.
I think Musiala right now is significantly better than Müller was back then. Even next year, because I think this Bayern team is significantly better than it was back then. So for him to be our best player, I think, keyword here, I think, for him to be our best player so far and this season, which I think he's going to do, I think that takes significant precedence over everything that Müller has done until the 2012-2013 campaign.
But wouldn't you agree that reaching the heights that the Bayern Munich team did, which you've just said, was much was nowhere near the quality that this team is right now, and he was key in reaching that Champions League final, and key.
You mean 2010?
You
mean in 2010?
2010, yeah. And key in Germany reaching third place at the World Cup. And honestly, most people, and I am myself, am required to agree that if he hadn't been booked for the semi-final against Spain, we might have gone through, or at least put up a better fight. And do I see that from Musiala now? Absolutely not. That's why I'm saying, when it comes to the raw talent and skill and the footballing ability, yes, Musiala is better. But when it comes to all those the Raumdeutung that Müller does, and the thing how he elevates our game, elevates the entire team, I think he still hasn't reached that level yet. But he might. I'm sure he will. But the question is, when will he do that? Will he be as vital to Germany in 2022 as Müller was in 2010? For now, I doubt it, but it can absolutely happen.
Well, that's why I said I disagree with everything you said, because I think the team that he's in right now, Musiala, is so much better than the team in 2010. And I also think that in 2010, there weren't that many good teams. We basically, in 2010, we avoided most of the big hitters on the road to the Champions League final. In addition, in the World Cup, there weren't really any good teams besides maybe Spain. And some would argue, honestly, who would people argue in 2010, like besides Spain? That was really it. Spain and Argentina. Those are the two big teams. England, no.
I think they were still good at the time.
Nah, they really
on
weren't.
paper, at least they had
but England's been good on paper since 2002, and they've still not managed anything. I'm talking about actual teams that can win it, which England wasn't never part of. Like, there weren't really many teams in 2010 that really look good. 2014 is a different story, but 2010 it's really weird. Like, both, in the Champions League we avoided the big hitters, and then in the World Cup we sort of we beat who we were supposed to beat, I guess you could say. Portugal, was it 4-0?
That was 2014. That was 2014.
Australia, I think 4-0 as well.
4-0,
Argentina 4-0. England.
But here's the thing. Pre-2010, our team was shit. That's my point. And I know Müller wasn't the only component to us being a better squad then. I mean, Özil was absolutely magnificent during the time. Khedira came into the squad. Lahm and Schweinsteiger were not at their peak, but pretty much up there. But still, compared to the we say that now, we were expected to beat Argentina. Back in the day, 2010,
absolutely. We were expected to beat Argentina.
We were not expected.
They had Maradona as a coach. Everyone expected us to beat him. You can't tell me otherwise.
But, no. But I vividly remember people saying, "Oh, it's going to be a close contest, but it could swing either way." We were never the way we beat them.
You talk to the wrong people then. I'm sorry. But everyone that I talked to was like, yeah, they got Maradona as a coach. They're not doing anything. Maradona's just there for the vibes. That's literally what people were saying. He's just there for the vibes because, he's a legend. That's the only reason why he's there. They
had good players as well, though. They had really good squad, Argentina.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Good squad doesn't matter too much when your manager, as we see with Germany for the past 10 years, when your manager is a clown.
Yeah, but you just said so. Yourself. So Germany also had a good squad, but shit manager, and Thomas Müller was one of the best players in that game. And do you see Musiala being on that level against such an opponent? Basically in a game with two good squads but two shit managers.
Yes, Musiala's had better performances and better campaigns than Müller in 2010. I'm not gonna budge on that because we back then, most of them big clubs, they had clowns as managers. So there's not even a comparison really. Like Germany had a clown as a manager. It's basically just a clown fest. That's really what it was 2010, and I enjoyed 2010 because it was a lot of fun. Germany played some of the best football, but it was a clown fest in terms of managers, in terms of how teams were set up. I think that really changed starting 2012 when the national team started getting actual managers in that could actually do something on a pitch. Again, I'm not even the biggest Musiala fan. If you were to ask me who are more, okay, that's a lie. But if you were to ask me who are more, Müller or Musiala, I tell you Müller. But I just think it's a bit nostalgia. It's a bit of nostalgia to look back and be like, yeah, Müller had a better campaign in 2010 because World Cup and then the Champions League. When in the Champions League, we basically avoided the big teams, and in the World Cup there basically were no big teams, and the good big team that we faced, we lost to. Now, granted, he wasn't in the squad. I agree with that, but we still lost. That's all it boils down to. We still lost.
Wait. Wasn't United quite? We faced them in the quarters, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we faced United, Lyon, and
Fiorentina.
Fiorentina, yeah. I think
Fiorentina was shit. Yeah, I agree. Lyon was also a heavyweight, but they did beat Real. So Make of that what you will.
And
But we did
Villarreal beat
face.
us.
Yeah, sure. That's a point. Yeah, but Manchester. I'm not, so I'm asking, genuinely asking you, right? I'm not, because I wasn't into English football back then. Wasn't Manchester United in 2010 really good, or was it an off year for them?
2009 to 2011, they were really good. I
Yeah.
believe 2010 was like the down year for them.
Yeah,
But
because they always had one down year, right? Like
Yeah.
Bayern during that time. Yeah.
yeah, and in 2009 they made it to the Champions League final, I believe, against Barcelona. And
Barcelona.
in 2011, I want to say against
Yeah.
Chelsea or Barcelona again.
Barcelona again in Wembley.
Yeah.
It was a 3-1 victory.
So they had that off year, so to speak. But as I said, for the most part, I just consider that banterous teams. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Like if this season, right, we come up. This is gonna sound like I'm insulting teams. I'm not, right. But if this season in a round of 16, I probably am, but who cares? Let's say we come up against like the likes of Tottenham. Are they in the Champions League? I think so. Yeah. Let's say we come up against Tottenham. That's a banterous team. If we don't beat them 8-0, Musiala doesn't score a hat-trick, then that's just bad on us. Then Flick needs to get sacked for that. That's just the way it is. And if in like the quarters we come up against, I don't know, Juventus and we don't beat them 5-0, then that's a stain on Nagelsmann. It's like those are banterous teams. Those are not teams that are serious. Those are teams that, maybe historically, they're big, but in terms of actually like right now, they're banter.
I think you are underestimating these teams.
I really am not.
I agree. I agree with Prince on this one.
I mean, Spurs have a good squad. Antonio Conte, Juventus. I know they're still not the same as they were, but if you look at the way we sometimes perform against teams like defensive or Antonio Conte, I still feel like these teams can give us a good game. Because I feel like Spurs are one of the top contenders of their league. I think top 3, top 4.
The only thing Spurs have going for them is their manager. That's it.
That's true. Absolutely true.
I mean, Harry Kane, Hamilton, Kloveski.
Let me just say this, right? Their midfield would get overrun so badly. People keep talking about how we don't have a defensive midfielder. Spurs, their midfield wouldn't even be in the game with us. Like, I'm sorry, I like Højbjerg, all right? Bayernfantv and all that. I like Højbjerg a lot. Him versus Kimmich, that's not a matchup. That isn't a matchup that it's gonna go any sort of way in their favor. Anyway, the point I'm making, right, is if we come up against banter teams in the Champions League, and Musiala starts, which again it's harder to start in this Bayern team than it was in the one in 2010. But if Musiala starts, which I think he will, I expect him to drop masterclass after masterclass. And that's not me being a huge Musiala fan. That's me just saying that that's just the way it is. That isn't like a prediction sort of thing, but it's more so it's gonna happen. It's just written in the stars per se. So that's kind of how I look at it. Like Musiala at this, we're kind of like going off topic a little bit, I guess. But Musiala at this stage in his career has already outperformed Müller at his stage in his career at that time. Now the real question is, will Musiala end up being a better player than Müller in his whole career? That's a question I don't know, because Müller, if you compare him by any metric besides assist, he looks average. You compare him by assists, especially like in the latter years, like in the recent years, he's number one in world football. But Müller on paper is average, but he's the way I always describe him is like the jack of all trades, master of none. But then he's a master of interpreting space, and he's the master of assists. So he really is a master of some things, but really is just a jack of all trades. And I think Musiala will be a little different. And I think Musiala can have a better career, actually, because I think Bayern and Germany are set up right now to be better than the previous Bayern and Germany generation. Germany, for one, actually have a manager this time, not a clown. And Bayern are among the top 2 teams, top 3 teams. Like the moment that Klopp leaves Liverpool, that whole club is going to disintegrate. The moment Pep leaves City, that club is going to disintegrate. With Bayern, that's not really the case. That's why, like, Real Madrid, because it's Real Madrid and Bayern. And I said for the next 10 years or so, the next 15 years or so, honestly, Bayern is set up to win 4, maybe 5 Champions League if everything goes well. Now, again, you can't plan for the Champions League, but we're set up in that way.
Yeah, but the thing is, I agree with you on Bayern being much better and much better place than 10 years ago. But Germany is a bit different, difficult to tell. Sure, I agree with you. Flick is miles better than ahead of Löw. But the squad back then was probably the best when it comes to talent we've ever had. Like going into the early 2010s with the 2009 U21 European champion generation and the best of the previous generation around Philipp Lahm and Schweinsteiger. That was probably the most talented. We haven't had as much talent in the squad since, and looking at the talents nowadays. I'm not sure we're going to get that level of talents again. But as I've said, you can offlay that with, we have us having a much better, more competent manager. So one just has to wonder if what would happen if Flick had such a pool of talent as Löw back in the day. But yeah, that's just fantasy.
But yeah, I think we're talking a little bit too much about Musiala and the Müller comparison.
Let's go ahead. Let's continue.
But the thing about Musiala is he deserves all that praise right now because he is so good right now.
Yeah, fantastic.
Now, of course, where there are winners, there are losers. And I don't know how I'm going to phrase this without it sounding insulting, because I don't want it to be insulting. I want it to be a genuine question, right? I don't want it to be come across as rude. This is a genuine question. With the way the team is playing right now, and I think it was Mido earlier that said that he doesn't want to see change in the next game. He just wants us to continue playing this well. Leroy Sané came in, got a goal. Honestly, played generally very well. Is there room?
Wait. Why are we talking about Leroy Sané when there's still someone else left? What about Coleman? We're always
well, we haven't gotten to him yet. We haven't gotten to him yet.
Okay, but just because most of the time we talk about Sané, but Coleman is also, I don't know where he would play in that squad.
Yeah, Coleman has to though. We have to find him. Coleman, we can't have Coleman on the bench. He's too good. I don't know how we can do it, but I think we have to play Coleman one way or the other. I don't know how it's gonna work though.
Well,
Sané, I think.
The reason I brought up Sané is just because he actually came on. He got a goal, played well, but would you start him in the next game? Is there room for him to start in the next game based on that performance? It was a great performance.
I mean, let me. Sorry, Mido, go ahead.
I was just gonna say quickly. For me, I just want to keep the same team for now. I now, as we go on the season, I want to see more rotation. But for now, I just want to see the same lineup. We've been playing really well, and I just want to see how far we can go playing like this. I hope we keep this for now. And then just maybe, because we have 5 subs still, just maybe if we are winning 3-4, or if we are comfortably winning, just bring these guys on. So yeah, I would say just for now, let's just not make much rotation.
Yeah, I was going to say something to the similar effect, that we should try and get the groove in, with the same team. Especially with the front four, and realistically, Sané is only going to play in one of those 4 positions. But over this course of the season, as things stand now, if it's a top game and we need our top performers, our A lineup, then Sané should not play. But in the Bundesliga, you can play. You can bring him in. You can in the Champions League knockouts. Sorry, not knockouts, but in the group stages also. But that's as things stand now. But if he does perform in training, when he starts in the Bundesliga, you can obviously talk about replacing him. But the thing now is, out of the top 4, and that's a question to you guys, which player do you think is the most expendable?
What you mean by expendable?
What was your question?
Like
Yeah.
if you say Sane, he performs absolutely magnificent, right? And the other four players, like
You mean
kind of
replaceable?
the form of the last two games. Which one of those four players would you rather bench for Sane?
Was it Coman or did you say? Didn't quite.
I think you said Sane. But just for an example, you could also go with the Coleman. Just who would you replace out of those four? Honestly, I don't know. That's why I think it's also fair to talk about Coleman because, as you said, Coleman is our best winger. Normally he has to play, but where though? You can't bench Musiala in his form right now. You could talk about Muller, I guess, but he's also really good. I think he already has like 3 assists this season in his first game. Maybe Gnabry if he doesn't score. But I think Mane is also irreplaceable. I don't know. But Gnabry is a striker. Coman is not a striker.
Yeah, with
And
Coman
Muller
finishing.
But that was not. That's why I asked you. It wasn't to the kind of, I don't know, spur a discussion because I genuinely don't know. I have no idea who you could play Sane with.
Let's ask the Nianzu fanboy. Go ahead, Prince. Who would you bench?
She's gonna say Gakpo.
Nah,
I'm not gonna
who'd
say
you bench?
anything, actually. I'm avoiding this question for good reasons.
What are your good reasons? Because you don't know either, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's honestly Nagelsmann has the toughest decision. And as we said, we talked about Upamecano when we started this. We talked about Upamecano. Lucas is our only left-footed center back. We paid 67 million for De Ligt. Where should he play? If Upamecano continues like that.
Well, the thing about it as well is this: De Ligt played at Juventus for the most part as a left side centre back.
They didn't like it, right?
And Nianzu played there as well, so that's no issues.
What do you think about Mazraoui?
Not sure.
Mazraoui, I've watched a video from Rabona TV, and they basically said that apparently, according to sources from inside the club, like Mazraoui is not up there with his technical ability is not on the level of the others yet. Like he can obviously improve. That's that's out of the question that he can't. But for now, he isn't close to the others, which is honestly really surprising. I had never expected that.
No, Mazraoui is fine for the most part. The big thing that holding him back is what I like to call the Robin syndrome, where he just gets injured. Now, granted, last year I think it was the eye injury, but he just gets injured like every few weeks or so, and that's the issue. It's what I call the Robin syndrome, where you get back, you play well, you do well, you're just about to hit your peak, and then injured again, out for a few weeks again, and that's kind of what happened last season, unfortunately. A lot. I think he'll be fine. I think I think it might have been Gravenberg that mentioned that this is the hardest training that he's ever been part of at the moment, and I think the same will obviously apply to Mazraoui. And I think once both of them are more used to the team and get their fitness up, so on and so forth, I think we'll see them both excel very, very well. I'm not really worried about those two, if I'm being completely honest. Just thought I'd show you this. Kicker's player of the match day, I think to no one's surprise, is Jamal Musiala, who we obviously talked about in lengths.
Look at this guy.
Very well deserved.
Damn smile. Yeah.
Very well deserved. And it's crazy that there are two players that are better youth players than him playing in the Bundesliga.
You really think there are two? I think maybe Wirtz, but who's the other one?
Who's the other one?
Okay. I was about to say you are never gonna say Bellingham, but then I realized we're talking about.
Good.
Man, honestly, we have to talk about him. I feel sorry for him. There's no place. There's no place for him in this squad. I think he has to leave. But with leave, I don't mean like leave. I think getting loaned out. I don't think he has the chance. The way we are playing right now, the way this defense is playing, I can't see this guy playing any minute. And I feel so bad for him because he needs playing time.
For those a little bit confused about who Nagels Enjoyer is talking about, he isn't talking about Bellingham, which was the last word that he said before he started going off his tangent. He's talking about the player that I think is the second youngster in the Bundesliga that is better than Musiala, and that is Nianzou. So that's who he's talking about. He thinks that Nianzou needs to be loaned out. I think it's all within, as a wise man would say, it's all in the scope of causality. Don't worry about it. He's gonna be a star for this season. He's gonna either make it or not. It really boils down. It's really that simple. You know, his talent is either gonna shine or he's not gonna make it. That's really it. And if he doesn't, it's unfortunate. If he does, amazing.
There's kind of the only two options there are. He's either gonna make it or he's not gonna make it.
You're just securing that you're not like
wrong.
As Klaus said, you're just saying, oh yeah, he either makes it or not.
Hey. Tomorrow, either the world collapses or it doesn't. Either way, I'm right.
Nianzou here will win the Ballon d'Or. Trust me, guys. I mean, fair.
I absolutely agree. And let's face it, right? If you expect Bayern not to get at least 2 injuries in defense, you haven't been watching long enough. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it's gonna probably within the next 3 or 4 days. 3 or 4 match days. We're probably going to be like 2 defenders down already.
Okay, Prince. But even if that happens, go ahead in your priority line of what would happen if, let's say, Upamecano and De Ligt get injured.
Yep.
Then there's still Pavard.
Nope.
Why not?
Not right now. It's going to take at least 2 months. I think. Therefore, Gravenberch less so, but for Mazraoui, he's been like that's what I'm saying. Like, he's been out for so long last season that's gonna take him a while to like really take over that spot.
So you mean Nagelsmann would rather play Pavard right back and Nianzou center back than play Pavard center back and Mazraoui right back?
Basically, yeah. Anyway, with that said, 2 players that we need to talk about. Actually, no. 3 players.
We need to talk about Neuer.
I didn't want to.
We don't want to talk about negative here.
I mean,
No, we need to.
The thing is, yeah, he's right. I mean, we always praise him for a good performance. We can't criticize him for once now. He didn't have a good game.
The reason I didn't want to talk about Neuer
because it's not an issue for me personally. Because we know he's gonna be back at his very best. Yeah. Maybe even next game. Didn't he have like diarrhea 2 days before the game? So maybe that was an issue.
I think that's an excuse for him.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you this then: if that's his excuse for this game, what's his excuse for the Leipzig game?
I know. I think
that he's old.
Yes, he's old, man.
I mean, Neuer, I feel like Neuer he's not like the way he was before, but I still feel like it's Neuer. We'll be fine. We'll be fine with him.
I'm kind of afraid that Neuer has the power to say whether he will start or not. You know what I mean? Like, even if he plays like, I know he. Well,
you're not gonna play Ulreich over Neuer. I'm sorry, that's not gonna happen. Like, Neuer could drop stinkers like he did against Frankfurt every single week, and I still would play him over Ulreich any day of the week.
Yeah, you're right though. We are talking about whether you get Newell back next season if he continues to play again.
Next season, perhaps, because he's again performing. He is again performing, just looking great, and I'm here for it. But the reason I didn't want to talk about Neuer personally, right? And I was gonna leave it to the end, maybe. I wasn't 100% sure, but the reason I wasn't gonna talk about Neuer is because Neuer actually hasn't been good for a while now. And I feel like because he's the captain, you know, people are not going to talk about it. People are just going to look past it. And that's my issue a little bit. That certain players, they can have a stinker for weeks and weeks, and nobody will talk about it. Müller used to be one of those players. He's not anymore. Nowadays, Müller gets criticized unfairly, which is funny. But I think Musiala right now is in that category as well, where if Musiala started, absolutely being awful for 2 months or so, and still starting every game, nobody would complain. There are just certain players that are just fan favorites that can just get away with it. And that's all I'm going to say. But back to the 3 players that I want to talk about. One kind of touched on, which was Mazraoui. Let's start with Mazraoui. We're talking about the newcomers here. Mazraoui, how did you all think about his performance? He came on for a little bit in that game, I believe. What did you think? I mean, it was a relatively short performance, but he came on. What's your thoughts on his performance against Frankfurt? I think he came on, right?
I don't
That's
remember.
exactly the point. I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, I think he did, but if he did for a brief time and he didn't do anything wrong, he didn't do anything amazing, just like last time. Okay.
I remember him.
He came on the 82nd minute.
I would rather talk about Tell, but
we're not there yet. Yet.
Okay.
I remember him.
Regarding Mazraoui.
Go on.
Okay, just one thing regarding Mazraoui. I think he's not there yet. He's not there yet, and I think it's completely acceptable because we have Pavard right now, and it's not like we need him, and the season just started, so they're not like there are many important games. Yeah, he's not there yet. I don't know whether he'll be there in like 1 month, 2 months, or even after the World Cup, maybe. But let's phrase it like that. I'm not that impressed, but that doesn't mean that I'm not that I say it's a flop or anything. I just say I'm not impressed yet, but I think it will still develop well, and he will. Honestly, I could see Pavard staying a starter for like the rest of the season if he continues like that. But to be fair, he also had some mistakes against Leipzig. I don't know what he was thinking of when he caused a penalty, but otherwise, I think Mazraoui has a shot. Like he has potential to become a starter, but he's not there yet. And as you guys always said, right, you didn't even know whether he came in, and that just says that. Let's say it wasn't like a spectacular performance by him.
Well, okay. I wasn't going to talk about this player actually, but I guess we have to, as well, because we just talked about Mazraoui. Stanisic. What about him? He forgotten man right now. Forgotten man. Not even a performance. Not even a few minutes off the bench. Nope.
You know what? Him and Nyonzo, we should loan him. We should loan them both out. Because I feel like with this guy, they have a potential. Stanisic, he's not going to get a lot of game time. Even if Bavard is suspended or injured, Mazraoui is waiting for that position. Unless he's played different position, I can't see any other position. So I think he's third in the line. So yeah, don't see it.
Okay, second player that I want to talk about is Gravenberg. I came out in the 57th minute for Marcel Sabitzer. What's everyone's thoughts on his performance?
Gravenberg. I don't know. I think he's.
He's very. He you don't really notice him on the pitch. Did he play against Leipzig? I'm not too sure. If yes, he did. But same story. So apart from that DC United game, he hasn't shown me anything yet. And don't get me wrong, I still think he'll be amazing at Bayern one day. Maybe sooner rather than later. But as things stand now, based on the recent performances, he doesn't give me anything negative to say, but he also doesn't give me anything positive to say. So
To proper see him, we would need him to start games, so then we can
Exactly.
see
Yeah.
him like what kind of player he is. Just for him to come like 60th minute or 70 minutes, that's not gonna be fair judgment on him. Let's see. I hope we get like a proper game time, like enough minutes.
Gravenberg is a victim of Sabitzer remontada. I think he's honestly, I think he had a good shot at becoming a starter, like even start of the season. But with Sabitzer playing like that, man, it's difficult, and I don't see it happening too soon. To be fair, because I don't see Sabitzer dropping a stinker the next two games. But at least I think Nagelsmann really rates him high because he's the one who gets subbed in. Like I think he's the first one who always gets subbed in, and with that, I think he's close to be someone who could start regularly. But as Tasso said, last two games wasn't really a recognizable performance. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not that into like tactical view and something. I'm not like that deep into that, and I don't know whether he brings it like, oh, but the way he plays, the way he presses, and something, it's crazy. I don't know that. Honestly, I have to admit, I'm not like that deep into that. But other than that, I'm still happy we got him. I think he's still a great player, and he will become a great player. But I think he's not ready yet to become a starter like in the next 2 or 3, let's say, games. Yeah.
Okay. Next newcomer. A lot of people wanted to see him play, since he was the only newcomer that didn't get to play versus Leipzig in the Super Cup. Matthias Tell.
The GOAT.
Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of hyped ourselves up a little
Did
bit.
we?
But you, sorry, I thought you. But no, but like even jokes aside, right? I think the entire fan base a few days off, like the second he got confirmed, was like, there must be a reason for that. He might really blow us all away. But his debut, it was fine. Especially for his age, I didn't think it was anything bad about him. He had a very good, solid technique. He played a few good passes. He integrated well into our attack. At a moment where the game was, I don't want to say dead, but you could see that our offensive, like attacking, attempts were just dialed down a lot compared to the first half. If he had played in that first half, that would have been a better. Like you could have seen how well he plays with the others. But my point is, he hasn't blown me away, but I expected that, to be honest. So decent. I'm happy with him. We'll see how he performs against other Bundesliga sides, preferably like at home against weaker sides. You can maybe even start him, see how he performs. Yeah.
No. I disagree. I think Tell always shows he's like one of the greatest players, and I'm not even joking.
I knew it.
No, but honestly though, I was so happy that he got something like for like 30 minutes and not like in the last 5 minutes. I know it was because we were up 6 or 5-0, and there were close to zero risk of doing this. But still, I was so happy that he got his debut for a little bit longer than like a usual debut would be for 17 years old. I think someone said to me, you should work on his positional play. I don't think that's true. I think what kind of irritated me was, I don't know whether you also watched it, but he was playing on the wings, right? At least he was going often on the, I think it was the left side. And I thought he would be a striker, but then he was also playing on the wings, and it kind of like confused me. But either way, I saw it, guys. I saw it. I saw the next Mbappe right there, live. The first time I could say it to my children, I saw the next Mbappe live in his debut.
You know what I was hoping? Like I was just hoping for them to get the ball to him. Neuer made that mistake, and then Frankfurt all of a sudden they started like getting possessed. Like they thought like there's a chance of comeback. I don't know. As soon as we conceded that goal, the Frankfurt started playing like better, and it's like I wanted to see him get the ball, take on players. Just 1v1, and I saw him playing like I think he was playing at the wing, wasn't it? Instead of playing up front. I think from what I could see anyway. But hopefully we get to see more of him. But I was hoping to get to see more of him with the ball.
You see this interesting point. Someone just said, wonder what our many talented youngsters were thinking when Terga game time over them. I mean, it's a fair point. You're throwing in someone with like 40 minutes of League R start minutes in there, but you don't give that many minutes to this like of Vidovic or Varner, where like he would say,
what happened to Xerxes? Was he in the squad?
I think he was in the squad, yeah, but he did. I think Xerxes, they are already looking for his new club. I don't think he has a future at Bayern. But to be fair, though, TK, he's right. He's right, but somehow he's still wrong because I think when Terga like signed, Nagelsmann was already saying he's not someone for the like reserve team. He's someone for the first team, and he's expecting from his 10 goals plus. He never said something like this about Varner or Vidovic. He never said, oh yeah, expecting Varner to be a starter next season. But he said, yeah, Vidovic should at least score 6 or 7 goals. He never said that. But for Terry already made like these huge expectations. And if he says that, after he said that, he must give him game time because without game time, he can't score a goal. But yeah, that's just, I think, the logical conclusion on why he gets game time over the others.
So people know that I hate stats. People know I hate stats, right? But I'm going to be the stat man now because it suits my narrative. So stats for life, hashtag. So if we look at this, right? This right here, I don't know how well it's presented, how well you can see it. But if we look at, say, Thomas Müller, who is the key passes master in European football, he had 3 key passes in 65 minutes. All right. Joshua Kimmich, who's also one of the masters of key passes, he had 2 key passes in 90 minutes. Jamal Musiala, who we've been talking about, he's got a 9.0 rating from SofaScore. Absolutely monstrous game. 2 key passes in 90 minutes. Tell comes on, has 25 minutes of game time. Oh. But then we scroll down. What's this? Key passes 2.
As I said, the next Mbappe. I told you,
That's good to see that.
No. Okay. To be fair, I think Mbappe is like probably the greatest French player, but still,
greatest French player. Zidane exists, you know.
I don't care. I think Mbappe is a different level.
Just Fontaine exists, you know.
Nah. I've seen Mbappe at the World Cup 2018, and I always thought this guy is special.
Coleman exists, you know.
Yeah,
Ribéry exists, you know.
Nianzou exists, you know.
Exactly.
It's kind of Zidane. I know he's like rated really high, but I think Mbappe is like just by the. I think he's better, to be fair. That's just my.
I mean, maybe that's just striker bias.
Hit and run merchant. That's all he is.
What is he?
Hit and run merchant. Just kicks the ball forward and runs after it because he's faster than everyone else.
You know what we need to talk about? We need to talk about Davis. And with that, I mean,
I don't want to.
No, he does that sometimes. I honestly feel like Davis is this kind of player who uses his pace, right? Gets in front, but then he don't know what to do with the ball. Like I've seen so many times where he just passes to the opponent, and we're not talking about it enough. Because honestly, we all love Davis. It's our oh man, our left back, our star boy, like second star boy after Musiala. But I don't know. Could you open up the stats page again and show us Davis? I want to see like his passing accuracy and stuff.
You really don't want to.
No, I want to see it now because I was watching the game live and I saw that because he wasn't
here's the thing, right? If you look at any stats ever, Davis is always going to be the worst one at Bayern. If you look at any stats ever, if any Bayern game, Bayern could lose the game 5-0, and Davis would still be the worst performing player based on stats. Because he just loses the ball way too often.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
But if you look at the stats here, Neuer, he basically gifted them a goal. He got a 5.9. Davis, alongside Sadio Mane, got a 6.4.
Well, what?
Yeah,
but scroll down to the pass.
Interceptions 3, tackles 2. Now, here we go. Possession lost 14 times.
Can you just compare someone?
Compare Pavard, since he played right back. Possession lost also 14 times. Yeah. But if we go further down to some of the more defensive dribble attempts, 5, successful 1. Aerial duels, 1-1-0. Ground duels, 10-1-4. So he's losing most of his duels. Whereas you look at Pavard, for this game as well, he was losing most of his 5-2-1-0. But obviously, the big thing that raises his score is the fact that he got a goal and a shot on target.
Yes, compare the X passes.
56%. It's why I don't like looking at stats too much, but
what does that even mean? It means like 45 is 50 passes went to a teammate and not to the opponent.
Yeah, 45 passes went to a teammate, 50. He tried 50 in total.
Okay, then maybe it was wrong.
But like Davis, typically, if you look at any stats ever with any Bayern game, he typically is the worst performer by a significant margin. Like, just for comparison's sake, if I go to the Super Cup game, again, I don't like talking about stats too much. Again, Musiala, 8.3, best Bayern player. Says it all, really. But you go to this game. Who is the worst performer? Ooh, it isn't Davis. It actually is Neuer. Well. Then again, he conceded 3 goals. Absolutely. But yeah, here you can see our performance right now in terms of Bayern players, in terms of how they're rated. Look at who's number 10. Matthias Tell. Jamal Musiala at number 1, of course, with his 9. Kimmich, very well deserved as well. Gnabry with a goal and assist. Müller got 2 assists, I believe, right?
3.
3?
Yeah.
It was 2, but they also counted the one for Pavard where he tried
that
to
wasn't an
finish
assist.
it.
No, that wasn't an assist.
Why was it not an assist?
Because that doesn't count as an assist. Someone else touched the ball before it. Assist, like assist. If there's any sort of like interruption between the goal or the ball being passed, it doesn't count as an assist officially.
Yeah, officially it does, because it's if you look at Bundesliga DE or like Kicker, it's listed as an assist.
I'll have to rewatch that game, but I'm pretty sure he tried to give it to Pavard.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, no assist.
Okay, but on Bundesliga DE, it counts as an assist because he has 3.
It won't count officially because all of the sides go by Opta. So even though it might go by their own statistics, when it comes to end of the season thing, it won't count. Because they all go based off of Opta, and SofaScore here uses Opta. So if it doesn't show up on here, it means Opta hasn't counted it. But anyway, stats. Who loves them? I don't. I absolutely don't. But based on the stats, Tell was actually pretty good. Thoughts on that? Does that change your opinion on Matthias Tell's debut? Doesn't seem like it. Okay. I tried my best.
What did you say?
I said, did those stats change your opinion on Matthias Tell's debut?
No, my take was already that he's the next Mbappe, but yeah, it just got confirmed by the stats.
Absolutely. Well, from one Matthias to another Matthias, De Ligt came in for Upamecano.
I'm worried about De Ligt.
2 games in and he's worried. Weren't you the one that was the most hyped about him? You were like, yo, De Ligt is here. Champions League, easy.
Yeah, I'm still thinking that, but I'm worried not because of his drop mistakes or anything like that. I'm worried because the others are playing so well. And I said, okay, you are saying, oh, I shouldn't think that there would be a season without 2 injuries and stuff. But still, he's not there to be a replacement for an injured defender. He's there to kind of like a leader in the team. Become a leader in the team, he must start. He's not starting, and he won't start next game. He won't. And I already see Twitter where Nagelsmann got a fucking quick start. De Ligt, we paid 70 million for him. You're not starting him. What's wrong with you? Why are you starting Pavard? First of all, it doesn't even make sense to play him in this Pavard position. And then these are the same guys who would say, "Oh my God, Upamecano is a beast, bro," and they're creating Upamecano compilations after games, and then say, "Oh my God, why would you not start De Ligt?" Yeah, because of your compilations, because of your montages. There's no way you can't bench Upamecano in this form. You can't. And if you can't, then De Ligt can't play. Okay, he could play for Lucas, right? But I think Nagelsmann is a big Lucas enjoyer. I don't think that he's scared to lose his starting spot. But comes to De Ligt, man, I really hope that. I don't hope that Upamecano gets worse. And that's what I said about I'm afraid because of De Ligt. Because there's not a reserved spot for him right now to say. Yeah. Someone has a different opinion.
I think I would like to see him and Upamecano together. Just see how they perform.
Yeah.
Lucas, I think, Lucas sometimes. Do you guys feel like Lucas is sometimes overprotected by our fans? I don't know, but
yeah,
I feel
he
like
is.
sometimes,
Especially when they talk about the immense fee we paid for him, because that's the biggest attack point, right? Everyone oh my God, you paid 80 million for this guy, and he's not even a top 5 defender in the world, and then Bayern fans say, "You fucking stupid to believe that he's not a top 5 center back in the world and stuff." And you have to admit, yeah, maybe he is, but he's not showing it regularly. At least not the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think in our Champions League win, he wasn't even a starter. I think it was Boateng, right? Boateng and Alaba. Yeah. So he wasn't even a starter back then. And now at least he's a starter, but I don't know whether he's a top 5 center back in the world. Could argue that. What is your opinion, Prince? Is he overprotected or not? Matthias?
Overprotected? Absolutely not. I just think with the way Lucas Hernandez has been playing recently, there is definitely a spot opening up on that left side at centre back role, whether it's Matthias De Ligt or whether that's Nianzou. We will see. I do think right now De Ligt doesn't deserve to start. I think if Lucas Hernandez has another bad game, the stories are different. Then we'll see. But as of right now, while he's been decent, Lucas Hernandez for the most part has been decent too. He just hasn't been great because, comparatively, Upamecano has been great. So I don't think there's much between them right now, and that's why I'd stick with Lucas Hernandez for now. But I do think if Lucas Hernandez has an average game in the next one, then there is a space opening up. With that said, I think we can all agree on the man of the match, so I won't even ask that question.
We all agree.
Yeah, it was Manuel Neuer.
Yeah, it was Kolomwani.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad shout, to be fair, you know. Not a bad shout. But yeah, who's our next opponent? Does anyone know?
Wolfsburg.
Wolfsburg, and
I
I'm
think
going into the stadium.
Kovac, I think ball. Is it not Kovac who's their manager?
Yeah,
Was
it's Kovac. Yeah, it's
it? It's gonna bring back memories seeing Kovac on our bench. Interesting.
Sadness, you mean?
I watched the game. They are looking that sharp, honestly. They drew
Did they
to
lose
Bremen.
or did they win?
No, they drew
First
to
game.
Werder Bremen, and they just
Okay.
I don't know. I thought Wolfsburg is now at least a top 5 team. They're not showing it right now. Okay, to be fair, it's the first match day, but still, I was honestly disappointed. But I think
But it
we
was
should easily-
Bremen, though. They should have really won against Bremen.
Yeah, they should have won to get Bremen. Bremen is like not that good. But yeah, as I said, I think we should easily win that. I think the next game is then against Bochum. Should also win that, and then it's Gladbach. It will be. Oh, I think anywhere there between will also be our DFB Pokal game against Victoria. I don't know when that is, but it also will be anywhere then. And then I think after Gladbach, Champions League is already starting, right?
Yeah, I don't know when is the draw the Champions League. I think in 2 weeks' time or something like that.
Yeah. I think it's the qualification needed. And then I'm so hyped for that. Honestly, give me Barcelona again.
Why?
I want Liverpool.
Are they?
They're not in pot. They're not in pot 1, are they? They
Yeah.
are.
No. Why would they? They didn't win the Champions League. They didn't win the the Premier League. So they're not in pot 1.
Oh, it doesn't matter whether you win it or not.
No. It used to be based on UEFA coefficient. Now they've changed like a few years back. They pot 1 is only the champions of the top 7 leagues. Oh, sorry, top 6 leagues. The Champions League winner of the previous year and the Europa League winner of the previous year, which means that Frankfurt is in the first pot, but Liverpool aren't.
It's the wish draw for many teams here. Okay, then give me Liverpool.
Yeah,
Give me a good game.
give me Liverpool. I'll go to the stadium and laugh at them all once we beat them 6-0.
At this point, the group stage is not a big deal. Let's just get the hardest team because we will go through from the group stage. But let's just test ourselves from the best.
I want a Premier League club.
Yeah.
Always feels so good.
Yeah, exactly. Premier League, preferably Liverpool, because that would be a statement, right? I hate because usually I know we're better than, about 95% more even of the Premier League. I'm very bad at math, but essentially better than every Premier League team, with the exception of City and Liverpool, which are roughly on our level. Like usually, right? The past
Just
2
above.
yeah, and but for the first half, like the half of the season, we always get shit. Bayern Munich gets shit talked to because all of their feats, all of their impressive matches are against so-called farmers teams, either in the Bundesliga or in the Champions League. Even if it's like Atletico Madrid, right, where it's a very good team compared to others, but even that does not count if it's not against the Premier League team. I just want a very decent Premier League team so we can, like, very early on put a statement out there and say, no, we are probably the one of the contenders for the Champions League. I recently saw a video of Mark Goldbridge, right? Let's just be honest, a very clueless fan, Manchester United fan, and he said, Champions League predictions. I want to go for not dark horse, but for someone who you don't see winning it, Bayern Munich. And I was like, what? What did he say? Yeah, I
that
thought he
guy's
was going to say
clueless.
something like Atletico or something. Like it was something that's out there, and he said Bayern Munich. I was like, okay.
To be fair, though, at the end we get some like Sevilla, and then it's the most disappointing draw of all.
Yes. We can't get anyone from Russia, which is good, because I hated those games when we had to go to Russia in the winter. You just knew that the lads weren't really excited for it. It was disgusting to play at. The grounds were terrible. The weather was terrible. Even the players were terrible. But it was still a very hard, very uncomfortable game.
What are you talking about? Did you not like to play against CSK in Moscow?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's like 15,000 capacity stadium.
Yeah,
It's snowing.
nice.
It's snowing. It's 5 players like injure themselves before even the anthem starts playing. I miss it.
You sound like a hater to me. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. You sound like a hater to me. Anyway, now with that said, though, any last thoughts on the game? Any play that you want to talk about? Anything else that you want to mention? Go, let it out. Let it all out. Let it go.
We could do player, manager, and overall game ratings if you like.
Well, I was gonna get there if nobody else had anything to say. But in terms of like just general
Let's
discussion,
go fast. Go that.
all right, okay. Player discussions. Let's start with keeper Neuer.
5.
Yeah, for me it's a. If I have to put a number on it, I'll be generous and say 3 out of 10. Just because I like the guy and he had.
Where you are generous and give him a 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
fair.
mistake he made. I'm sorry, but the mistake he made. That's 0 out of 10. He had a very strange passes over the course of the game, based on his standards that he has set. If this was Marc-Andre ter Stegen, this would be an 8 out of 10 performance for him. But this is Manuel Neuer.
Okay, stop.
So that's
stop,
a 3 out of 10.
Stop.
And you don't remember when he I think he initially had a goal, right? Or this Müller scene where he failed to score because of Nabri's bad pass. But I think it was his. I think he was the one who
that was more on Frankfurt being idiots and pushing everyone forward. That has nothing really to do. Any goalkeeper would have done that. But I'm not going to stop you. Go give your rating.
I give him a 4.
I would give him about 5. He had only one job. I mean, we weren't tested, and he just that only thing the mistake he made.
You see, I'm going to counter your argument and say he had only one job and he didn't do that job well. That's why he gets a 0 out of 10.
And I understand that argument, in the line of argument.
I'm not taking.
It's fine. I understand it.
Next up, let's go with the left back, Davis. Alfonso Fonzie Davis.
I give him a 6.
Yeah, for me, Davies, this game we haven't seen much. Around, I would say 6. Yeah.
There was one scene. I'm gonna concur and say 6 because there was one scene where he took the ball like 20 meters ahead of our goal, and he just pushed, dribbled past 3-4 players, and created a really good chance. So yeah, 6.
I remember that, and in the stand, Frankfurt fans were saying Davis is so unfair. They were really saying that. They said, man, this guy's pace is unfair. Man. Fuck off.
I see someone putting 10 for Davies.
Well, I'm gonna be, I guess, I'm gonna be the odd one out here, but I'll give him a 4.
I didn't have that bad of a game.
Yeah,
he's had one good game in like the last 4 months, and that one game was in preseason again in the friendly against DC United. I haven't seen him play good in like 4 months. I've not said anything about it because, like, look, I still want to I'll still want to be able to make these videos in peace. All right, but anyway, moving on. Lucas Hernandez.
6.5 for me.
Yeah, I thought it was alright. He wasn't the best defender from us, but he. The pass. The goal was to me like 70 to 80% Neuer's fault, but that pass, well, maybe even more. But that pass was not that good. Not to make any excuses for Neuer, but that pass just wasn't good. So
give it a 5.
5 is Neuer.
You guys harsh.
Yeah, we are harsh. Look at
we are harsh. That's true.
Prince giving 0 to Neuer.
Deservedly. Lucas gets a 5. Just a roadman performance. Nothing special. Nothing bad. I do agree that he was at fault for the pass, but I'm not going to fault him for Neuer being an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
he does share some blame, but like not that much, which is why he gets a 5 for me. Next up, Dayot Upamecano.
That's sorry, but that was a. Did he make a mistake? No, right? It's just me, or was that a nigh flawless game? If that's the case, to me, I can't go lower than 8 out of 5. I never give 9 out of 5. 10 out of 5 10s, because 10 out of 10 is for me like best performance you've ever seen, and so 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I thought he was solid this game. I would say 8.5. One of the best. I would say this game third best or second best in this game after Musiala and
he was
Kimmich, maybe.
after Musiala. I give him an 8.
To me, he gets a solid 9. I thought that was a very great. I thought it was a very good performance, and I do agree with Tausif that like 10 out of 10s are like those super memorable performances. Like for example, not even Musiala would get a 10 out of 10 for this game. But like a 10 out of 10 that I can think of is like Toni Kroos versus Arsenal, for example. That I watch that game like once a month, for example. like things like that. I do love to watch.
Or the one that shall not be named against Wolfsburg that one time.
What?
Not even that I wouldn't give a 10. I know it was 5 goals in 9 minutes, but even that I wouldn't give a 10.
What? Why?
Because 10 out of 10s are the super games. Are those that like...
How is that not a super game if you score 5 goals in 9 minutes?
Because the other team is a banterous. Besides those 5 goals, if you actually rewatch that game...
It doesn't matter.
I don't want to talk too much about it, but besides those 5 goals, it was actually invisible in the rest of the second half.
As if Arsenal is not a banter game.
Because he didn't have to do
Champions
anything.
League.
That's the point.
Nah, I think that game is a 9.5, but not quite a 10. It's not iconic.
You remember Mbappe against Argentina?
Which is what a 10 is.
Bundesliga game.
It's not. It really isn't. It really isn't. I would say Lewandowski's performance versus Real Madrid, that is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
But
that's
against
10
Wolfsburg,
no doubt. If you don't think that's a 10 out of 10, you're dumb. Okay.
That's true.
So, yeah, as I said, for me, Dad gets a solid 9 out of 10. Pavard?
Also very decent,
8,
I think.
because he got
8.
goal as well.
8, yeah?
Yeah, 8 for me.
If I take away his goal, he gets a 6. If I don't take away his goal, he gets a 7. So I'll give him a 7.
It's a good goal.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm judging him on. He's a defender first and foremost that he should be providing, not scoring. But then again, it's a goal. It did help in the end, so he gets a 7 from me. Moving on to our midfield duo. Let's start with Marcel Sabitzer.
Schweizer, as the Americans would say. I'll give him a 7 or 6. Let's say 6. Nah, 7. Okay, 6. 6.5.
I'll give him a 7. I think he was very, 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 very nice.
Yeah, I think I'll give him around 7 as well. 7.5, because without the ball, a few times I saw him winning the ball and just he was really good off the ball.
Yeah, maybe I'm too harsh. I'll go up to 7.
For me, he gets a 7.5. Very, very good performance. And I'm not saying that because last season he didn't have a good performance, but for me, that was just a very, very good performance.
Yeah. I saw someone saying we are maybe overweighting him because his shit is last season, but I think he was generally good.
It's the inversion to Neuer where I said, based on the standards that he set, that's a 3 out of 10 or 2 out of 10, and based on this standards Sabitzer has set at Bayern Munich, that's a 7 out of 10.
Now that's why I always say I don't judge it based on their past performance. I just judge this performance, which is why I'll be as critical, as harsh as I want to be. I don't care what you did in the past. If you're not doing it right now, it doesn't matter. Kimchi.
I think he was brilliant. He was everywhere. That's how peak Kimmich should behave. 8.5 out of 10. Oh no, let's just say 9 out of 10. I'm in a good mood. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
I wonder what you're gonna give to Musiala if you give him.
I give Kimmich an 8. I think 8 is fine.
Do you know what? You're right. 8.5.
Yeah, for me, 8.5. Do you guys? I don't know if you guys noticed that ball, the Mane goal.
Yeah.
Ball,
Oh, crazy
the
ball to Nabri. Yeah.
the pre-assist Kimmich made was amazing. The way the top of the ball, that was
First touch
amazing, man.
ball as well.
We are so
Love
lucky
it.
to have Guardiola. You know how we signed Kimmich back then? I think it was Guardiola, right? He said we need to sign this guy, and I think it was
Uh,
gonna.
it's a bit of a no, not really, but he does get some credit. I think it was Reshke actually that saw him. He was like, "We need to like you could need to come watch this under was it like under 18 or under 19 game or something like that? Maybe like under 20 game. I can't remember. But he was basically saying like there's this crazy kid playing for Leipzig that we need to watch. Pep came along one day and Pep was like so convinced that Bayern just got him immediately at that point. So I think like if you really want to go back to it, I think the original credit goes to Reshke, but you can give us credit to Pep for that one as well. Personally, for me, he gets a 9 for this game. They were robbing him of assists, honestly. I was watching that game. I was like, Kimmich could have had like Kimmich could have had an assist, but like every time he did pass the ball, they just effed it up, and I'm just like, why? Like, why? Is there like an agenda going on right here against Kimmich? But for me, he gets a 9. David Meccano and Kimmich both for me get a 9. Honestly, I think they were both amazing. Speaking of amazing, actually no, let's not speak of amazing. Let's speak of Thomas Müller. What do you give Thomas Müller?
Still amazing.
Yeah, similar
7.
to. I mean, when we come to the front four, everyone has got a similar rating for me, and very, very high up. I mean, you can't give anyone less than 7 out of 10.
Can't I now?
You can't. I forbid it. I explicitly forbid it, Prince. Nah, but for me, Müller, the way he directed the game, 3 assists. Let's just say 2.5. Yeah. Sorry, but to me, you can't go lower than an 8 out of 10, and I have Müller bias, so 8.5 out of 10.
Given a 7.5.
Interesting. I give him an 8. 2 assists. What more do you want? He gets an 8 from me. Very simple. He was the glue. What happens when the glue is gone? Well, who knows? But speaking of glues, the glue sniffer. What do we think of Jamal Musiala?
What did you say?
I said nothing.
Blue sniffing is underrated though.
Jamal Musiala.
9.5 for me. I think is amazing. Man of the match.
Yeah, I concur. I mean, yeah, 9, less than 9.25.
Just to be different.
Give him a 9, yeah.
For me, he gets a. Honestly, I'm thinking about it, right? If I take away his 2 goals, which obviously it's part of the game, but if I take away his 2 goals, what would I give his overall performance? I'd probably give it like an 8. So with those 2 goals, I'd probably give him like a 9, maybe a 9.5. Nah, a 9.5 is too high. It was a good performance, but it wasn't an amazing performance. It was a great performance, but not amazing. So great, between great and amazing. So for me, I'll go alongside you, Tausif, and say 9.25 out of 10. Like in that, like between 9 and 9.5 mark is sort of what I would give Musiala myself. Not quite a 9.5, not quite, a 9. Somewhere in between. All right.
Fuck off Barcelona. They're acting like they just won the Champions League.
All right. Serge Gnabry.
Typical Serge Gnabry game, right? You can't, like, he wasn't.
Go on. You said you can't give any of my attacking players below a 7.5.
And I won't.
Wait.
7 out of 10. Like, it's a typical Gnabry performance, right? He was, if you look back at the goals, at every dangerous situation Bayern Munich was in, he was always involved. He was always somewhere causing unrest. But was he on the level of Müller, Musiala, and Mane? I don't think so. So 7 out of 10. It's a very Gnabry-esque performance. He
7?
never. Yeah,
Didn't you say you can't give any of attacking players below 7.5?
I said 7, didn't I?
No, he said 7.5.
All right, then it's 7.5 for Gnabry. Sorry. I misspoke.
I think for me about 8 because he's got a goal and assist, didn't he?
Yep.
So yeah,
Also given
around
an
8.5.
8 because of my Gnabry bias.
Right. The way I look at it, as always, if he didn't get a goal and assist, what would I give him? A 6. He got a goal and assist. He gets a 7. I thought he was awful. I thought like besides this goal and assist, like he wasted so many. The pass to Müller was the icing on the cake. I know he loves to be a chef, so that was his masterpiece. That was the little sprinkle of icing on that cake. That's why he always does that celebration. It's not to like stir anything. It's that missed pass, that icing on that cake, that just tips it over the edge to a 7 for me. That's why for me he gets a 7. Without the goal and an assist, he would have gotten a 6. I thought he wasted so many good opportunities, not just that Müller chance, but just in general. But then again, he is direct, and that's why you'll always get golden assist, because even if he plays bad, he will be productive. It's like the opposite of like a Coman, where Coman he can play amazing and not be productive at all, not getting a goal or an assist. Anyway, Sadio Mane.
For me,
7.5.
yeah, around 7.75.
Man, so much for you can't give any of our attacking players below 7.5, and yeah.
That was me, but
I know.
that was me though.
I know, but still, I agree. I thought Mane was better than Gnabry, but also not by much. I mean, they weren't bad. He gets a 7.5 with Gnabry getting a 7.
7.75 for me.
You're right. I can't give Gnabry an 8 and Sani a 7.5. I give Gnabry a 7.
Oh, are we talking about Sane? I thought we were talking about Mane.
Mane.
Oh yeah, Mane.
All right, that's all of our starting 11. Let's talk about the substitutes that came on. So the first substitute that came on was Rian Gravenberg for Marcel Sabitzer.
5.
I honestly don't remember anything from him so far.
Yeah.
By
That's
default, it's 5 out of 10. By default.
I give him a 4. He had one moment in the second. I mean, he came on in the second half, so I can't say he had one moment in the second half. But he had one moment where he nearly gave away the ball in inside the box. That like ended up not for a shot, but it ended up for an opportunity for Frankfurt. So just for that, he gets a 4. Next up, Leroy Sané, who came on for Müller at the 65th minute.
8. Fight me, but I give him an 8.
Explain.
I think he assisted, right? He assisted.
Yeah, I think he's got assist.
Yeah, he played a good game.
I watched him in the stadium, bro. He was fighting, bro. He's running to get the ball back and stuff. Man, he wants the starting spot, even though he won't get one. But still, I like this dedication. And I think, honestly, in these like 30, 40 minutes, I liked him better than Gnabry, I believe. Yeah, I think he did better than Gnabry. If I give Gnabry a 7, I give him a 7. I give him an 8. 7.5 or 8.
I love how I introduced the 0.75 metric to us, okay? But yeah, I'm going for 7.5, yeah. The only thing that bothers me about him was his body language. He gets frustrated very easily, and he shows that. And that kind of spreads negativity, and I do not like it.
He didn't in the last game.
No, against Frankfurt, he did?
He did? Okay.
Yeah. You could see that. Like, when the pass wasn't right, man, that's not something you want to see. Especially, I mean, I understand it. Obviously, he wants to prove himself, and all the others have scored, and then he comes in and someone doesn't really convert a pass. correctly. But yeah, do you remember 7.5 is a bit harsh, but just because of that body language of his.
I'm trying to remember the goal, the assist. I honestly can't remember. I need to rewatch it again. All the subs for me, I just don't remember much from them. So as him, I'll give him around 6.5.
Gets an 8 for me. Simple. Assist was great. I thought the game overall was great. For me, he gets an 8. Matthias Tell, who also came in on the 65th minute for Sergio Gnabry.
Probably need to expand our scoring system because this guy deserves 11. No, joking. Yeah, I mean, Thomas said he looked a little bit lost, and I also thought that I think he doesn't really know where to play yet. But he has some good signs of being a great player. But I think that doesn't count that much. I would still give him a 6, to be honest. It was fine, better than a 5, but not as good as a 7. So I give him a 6.
No one else.
For me, 6.5, something like that.
Sorry, who are we talking about?
Tell.
The goat.
Oh, Tell. Yeah, 6.5. I concur with Mido. 6.5 seems fair.
Okay. 10 out of 10, obviously. Next up, Delict for Hernandez.
Now, how long did he play though?
8 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't count, but you can't give a rating for someone who played 8 minutes.
You just don't want to be harsh on him.
8 minutes.
Oh, I like Delict. He's so good. We're gonna win the Champions League. If we take away that, if you take that away, what would you give him? A rating?
I don't even remember if he did something. I think he went. I don't know whether I am confused him with Kimmich, but I think he went to the opponent's box with the ball, right?
Do you know what? If you're if it's a substitute and so you say, I don't remember him doing anything, and that player is an attacker, that's a bad thing. If it's a defender, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, no, that doesn't exist. That's foolish. Especially considering that our defenders they help in our build-up play.
Oh, that's true, I guess.
So if you don't even remember him in the build-up, that's a bad sign.
All I'm saying is, it just means he didn't have a bozo moment, which is good for Bayern standards.
Look, he gets a 5, all right? He gets a 5. I know no one wants to give him a rating because, you only played 8 minutes, but he gets a 5.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. So my default rating for anyone that I can't remember is a 5. So.
And then last but not least, well, not last but not least, but Mazraoui, who also got 8 minutes.
5. Because I don't remember.
5. Same 5.
And also 5. And now last but not least, Mr. Nagelsmann.
Yeah, Nuggets enjoy it.
I mean, he set up the team correctly. His subs weren't too bad, I guess.
Perfect subs.
Yeah. I guess 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10, one of those.
No ball knowledge. That's a 10 out of 10. And I'll tell you why. Because he knew exactly there's no reason to change the starting lineup. Honestly, we need to include the fact that he started Musiala in a game against Leipzig. Although no one, did you guys expect that? Be honest. Did you expect Musiala to start that game? The game against Leipzig?
Absolutely.
Okay. But why? Why not Coleman?
Because Musiala is our best player at the moment. That's why. If he doesn't play,
but we didn't know that.
No, we did know that. If Musiala doesn't play, right, it's why preseason in all my lineups, Musiala was always there. Because if Musiala doesn't start this season, then that's a match against Nagelsmann.
I think Nagel's point is more like he's been one of our best players in the past, but he hasn't always played for us, despite being one of our best players. And Nagelsmann now seems to have the balls to play him regularly. Is that what you're trying to say?
Kind of, yeah. I'm just saying, I think for most, like, it wasn't
Now,
guaranteed.
you
that
want to
he
give
would start.
Nagelsmann credit for starting Musiala, when the reality is he lost credit because he didn't start Musiala. He doesn't deserve credit for it. He lost it previously because he didn't. Because Musiala was our best player last season as well, but he didn't play. And that was a negative against Nagelsmann. Now that he's finally playing him, that's just okay.
We played against Villarreal. We still haven't won the game. But anyway,
Against who?
Villarreal, right?
I don't know that game you're referring to. I have no.
Oh yeah, me neither. Yeah. I think I was.
He's talking about Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Offside goals here, left, right, and center. That's what
okay, my Nuggets enjoyer glasses away. I would still give Nagelsmann a solid 8.5.
Mamma mia!
Just like I did. Yeah.
It's a me, Mario.
Okay.
Everyone's being so generous today.
Okay, what is your rating?
Honestly, 7.5.
But why?
Because should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just do it. Go for it.
All right. You know what? Let me sit straight.
YouTube,
no, I
please
wanted
clip
to
this.
go.
Please clip this and put this on Twitter. I want
Don't. But here's the truth, right? All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Fuck it. Here's the truth. Neuer right now shouldn't be starting. You could take anyone from our youth team right now that should start over him. That's a fact. So for him not to do that, again, you need to play the players based off of performance. That was the whole thing.
Wait, what? You're saying Neuer should not be starting?
Yep. And I haven't.
But you were saying an hour ago that
I wouldn't start Ulreich over him.
I don't disagree, but I disagree with the reasoning. The reason I would have benched Neuer is because just he wasn't up to speed when it comes like health wise. So I expected him not to play, and I was surprised to see him play. But I don't see
because the issue is right. I'll correct you because I know exactly where you were gonna go. Neuer shouldn't have started, but I wouldn't have started Ulreich over him. Anyone from our youth team, I would have started above him. That's what should have happened. Second thing is Davis shouldn't have started. Stanisic needs to play there, or Lucas Hernandez needs to play there. Davis has, as I said, Davis. I kept quiet about this, but since we were talking about it, let's talk about it. Davis has had one good game in the last 4 months, and that was against DC United in a preseason where he played one half. So does he deserve to start over Stanisic, over Lucas Hernandez? Lucas Hernandez has been bad, but Lucas Hernandez still deserves to start over Davis, even as a left back. Stanisic, honestly, every time he plays a solid 7 out of 10. Right, even as a left back, right back or left back, does he deserve to be benched right now? Probably not, based on form. But that's what I'm judging it based on form. Next up. Where is Jansu? I'm joking.
No. I thought you were, because Nagels, if you keep a track of the things he says, he bases his opinions around him wanting Nianzou to play so badly. He wants.
I really don't care.
He wants he wants Hernandez to move into left back because he wants to vacate his position at centre back. He wants Mazraoui to not play for 2 months because he wants Pavard to vacate his place.
No.
I want to.
I've got agendas, but the most important agenda right now is actually players playing based off of form. That's always been the most important part to me. It's why I don't. It's why probably I wouldn't last as a manager, because I don't care if you're the captain. I don't care if you've been at the team for 10 years. If you don't perform 1 week, you're not playing the next week. Like you have to, like you automatically out of the team, and you have to work yourself to get back into the team.
Do you know what type of team you need or club you need to manage? You need to manage United. You need to get Maguire out of that team.
Well, all I'm going to say is Ten Hag. I feel sorry for former Bayern lad. Well, former
Yeah.
Bayern coach. Yeah, he's not going to enjoy it that well.
I also felt sorry for Rangnick, right? Because they're not going to back anyone. And if it doesn't work with Ten Hag, I don't see a good future for United for the next 5 years.
Who's the best player in the Bundesliga right now?
Musiala, obviously.
Musiala. I mean, Wirtz is injured, so yeah, Musiala.
Not even then, Musiala.
Wait, who's second place? What about Nkunku?
Nah. The Bundesliga just had one match game, so it's difficult to actually judge. But based on this one match game, definitely Musiala.
Yeah, okay.
Like, if you ask me right now, I'd put Kolomwani over Nkunku. But yeah, as I said, Davis and Neuer both shouldn't be playing at the moment, and because they are, that's a stain on Nagelsmann. Anyway, Juan Mallorca is saying Davis isn't playing that, but I highly disagree. I've not liked how he's been playing. But besides the DC United game, right, the last game that I remember where I actually liked how Davis was playing was against Barcelona, and that was like a year ago. Nearly a year ago, and I know he's been out for a long time, which is why I haven't brought it up, or it's why I've not been that critical of it. But if you're just judging based on form this season, I absolutely wouldn't play him at the moment. But that's a topic for another time. I tend to be quite critical on players like him because a lot of people hype him up, a lot of people call him the best left back, and I'm just like, but defending is the most important thing. I know he gets bailed out by his pace, but his pace isn't even helping us offensively that much either.
Yeah, he's. I've always said he has a poor first touch, and his positioning isn't that good.
As I said, for me, it's always been very clear, and I don't know why he's still being played as a left back. He's a winger. Like, he's actually really, really good on the right wing. But because, we played him at left back and it worked out so well, he's now permanently there for some reason. Same thing that happened to Alaba. Like, we played him left back, it worked out pretty well. And then
same thing that happened to Kimmich when he was right back.
Yeah, I guess you could say. Well, Kimmich came in. We had a centre back crisis. Kimmich played the centre back and then played a right back because we couldn't get a right back. And now he's finding back to his actual position. And we just, once we move players to a certain position, we're like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm just like, why? You're not using the players in the best position just because it works somewhat. Play them in a position where they're great at, and it will work amazingly. But we're not even looking at that. We're not doing that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's why Nagelsmann, for all these points that I mentioned, Nagelsmann, for me, he gets a. What did I give him? Like a 7? 7.5? 7. Sounds about right. Like, there wasn't anything inherently bad in this game. But, like, I can't say, like, he changed the game with his substitutions. I thought the substitutions that he made were adequate and appropriate, considering, we've got new players and they want to, he wants to give them their debut. But, like, he didn't have to make, like, any groundbreaking substitutions, but I also think that the game plan worked okay. That's all I gotta say. So yeah, that's our thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Look, everyone has their personal problems, and that's why I don't care. Not that I don't care, but I don't look at their personal situations. Because I look at. That's why I also don't look at like historical performances typically, because at the end of the day, the way I look at it is just, how do I phrase this? Your performance on the pitch on that day. That's what I'm judging. I'm not judging like I'm not judging the context, which you could say I should be judging the context, but I'm not judging the context. I'm judging the performance. That's all that I take into consideration when I'm doing a player rating kind of thing. In this case, I'm rating the players based on their performance on that pitch, just looking at the performance without any of the things going on in the background, if that makes sense. As I said, with that said, I think we're calling it a night. I know
Yeah.
it's very late for both of you, so I do appreciate you being here. Mido, I appreciate you being here as well. Well, the issue with Kimmich is, and just to answer that question before we hop off, the issue with Kimmich is that right now no one else has played better than him. Yes, we may complain that not defensive midfielder, blah blah blah, but no one else right now in that team, in that squad, has been better than him. Or is better than him. That isn't starting right now, if that makes sense. So that's why he's not being benched right now. Because Gravenberg, I like Gravenberg a lot, but Gravenberg, his competition right now really is Sabitzer, and Kimmich, I still see quite not far, but I still see definitely ahead. So that's why no one's really taking the spot right now. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate all of you being here. And if you're watching this later on as the VOD is out, I do appreciate watching it as well. With that said, see you all next time. It is a Sunday, so have a good rest of the weekend, I guess. And until next time, peace out and bye.
Bye.
Bye. So leaving. Bye.